Kevin Sylvester here in the A13 Breakdown Center. This matchup, a good one. Epic, if you will. St. Joe's against St. Francis. These two teams met earlier this year with St. Joe's, the winner, of course, led by quarterback Naaman Roosevelt, leading that great offense for St. Joe's. But don't discount St. Francis. On the other side, a good quarterback of their own, Ilio DiPaolo. Should be a great one out at the stadium. Here's Steve Flemish and Frank Stewart.
Evan, but the quarterbacks aren't the only outstanding players on the field, Frank.
Well, you're absolutely right, Steve. There's an awful lot of Western New York talent out on the field for both sides, and of course they're going to be on to college as well. These are some really good football players on both sides of the ball.
Should be fun to watch, and revenge on the mind of the St. Francis Red Raiders. We'll see if they can avenge that early season loss. The kickoff is next. We're ready to rock and roll at the Ralph.
John Sears, along with my good friend and colleague Frank Stewart.
Fumble in the backfield. They will. Oh my goodness! Just the way I designed it.
We've got to cover the high school football in the last 10 years to level that a lot of people throughout the state are led.
HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, the Movie Channel, and Stars are better.
Ralph Wilson Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, on a very cloudy and rainy afternoon. Steve Flemish alongside Frank Stewart. Thoughts from Brendan McDaniels in just a bit. Frank, we had a tornado watch. It's actually still in effect through 6 o'clock tonight. The skies really opened up during that Monsignor Martin's Class A final between St. Mary's and Cardinal O'Hara. Drenching downpours and heavy winds, but no lightning, so the game was not suspended, and obviously officials are hoping they won't have to do that for our Class AA final here. St. Francis wearing their road whites. They are on the road for the first time in a while here in this game. St. Joe's, of course, having gotten the better of them earlier in the season, wearing their home maroon colors. And despite the fact St. Francis is on the road, Frank, the St. Francis coaches are in the home coaching booth just to our left.
Absolutely right. They're ready to get this game underway. The coach is ready. The officials down on the field with the captains of the team with the coin toss. We'll see who's going to get the football first. Let's listen in.
St. Joe's wins the toss. They elect to defer.
And now they'll just decide which way they want to line up for the first quarter here. There's a very strong breeze blowing from left to right here, as you would expect at Ralph Wilson Stadium, probably gusting to 25, 30 miles per hour. And there you see the teams as they'll line up. And it looks like St. Joe's is actually going to receive the opening kickoff, but they'll be moving, Steve, right into a very strong breeze here. And you mentioned about the possibility of rain showers. Well, after the initial showers of the first half, things dried out here at Ralph Wilson Stadium, and we don't expect an awful lot of rain in the second game of our doubleheader, but you just never know. Let's join Brendan McDaniel down on the sideline.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, as Steve had just talked about, the conditions down here are probably less than optimal. It's not raining out, but we do have the tornado watch in effect. We will be following that for you throughout the game. Down here on the field, the wind has been measured between 30 and 40 miles per hour, and with two teams that both like to pass the football, it'll be interesting to see how much they in fact do pass throughout the game. As you can see, the skies are clear, so it doesn't look like we'll get rain, but we'll be following the wind and the tornado watch as we go, guys.
All right, Brendan, stay safe down there. Keep that coat buttoned up on what's becoming a very chilly evening here at Ralph Wilson Stadium. Yesterday it was humid and balmy for some of those Section 6 finals, Frank, and this is the culmination of what's been a really great weekend of football in Orchard Park. We saw Section 6 Class D and C on Friday, Randolph and Silver Creek winning those games. Then on Saturday, it was Lackawanna in Class B, Grand Island in Class A, and the AA won by Orchard Park. And then earlier today, Cardinal O'Hara getting the better of St. Mary's, and now this one is shaping up to be maybe the best of them all.
Well, we're expecting two things. St. Francis, we talked to their players and their coaching staff. They feel they have the better talent and the better team. Although they lost to St. Joe's earlier, they thought it was a fluke game and they shouldn't have lost. St. Joe's, on the other hand, has an extremely high-powered offense that they feel cannot be stopped. St. Francis thought they stopped in the first game, so there's a lot of discussion between the coaching staffs and the players about which one is the better team. There's only one way to decide it, and we're going to do it right here at Ralph Wilson Stadium.
Mike Lawless to kick off for St. Francis. St. Joe's quarterback Naaman Roosevelt among those back deep, and here we go. And flags are already flying on the opening kickoff.
Looks like we've got the kicking team perhaps a little too aggressive and going to be offside on their opening kickoff. By the way, both of these teams, just so you know, for the viewers at home, if they don't follow high school Catholic football, St. Joe's record 8 wins and 1 loss. Their only loss coming to Steubenville out of Ohio, 35-28, and they defeated St. Francis 29-27. For St. Francis, they go on the road and play some very, very strong teams in the Ohio area. Their record under Jerry Smith, 4 wins and 4 losses, but again, they're ranked 5th in Western New York. St. Joe's ranked 2nd behind Orchard Park, and Jerry Smith believes he has the best talent in Western New York.
Well, they may have a 4-4 record, Frank, but as you said, when you play the big boys like some of those schools out of Ohio, St. Xavier and St. Edwards, you really learn a lot about your football team, and you feel, as they do, you could take on just about anybody. And they really believe they now are ready for this St. Joe's team. They were caught a little off guard the first time. They think tonight will be their night. You'll notice they have a holder out there as the wind is blowing very steadily, so that is Zach Zabo, number 99, holding the kick of Mike Lawless. And for the second time, we're about ready to get underway here in the Monsignor Martin's Class AA final. And this one will angle to the far side and go out of bounds. The flag comes in. I think that was number 2, Dominic Cook, who was down there near the football. So St. Joe's not with the best starting field position, but
they have an outstanding quarterback.
With a quarterback like Naaman Roosevelt, absolutely. They run this run and shoot. 4 wide receivers. It's
dead ball, kick out of bounds. St. Joe's elects to take at the 35, first down.
It's something that Pat Thomas, who's actually their defensive coordinator, Frank, a former defensive backs coach with the Buffalo Bills, he brought it to St. Joe's. Something they ran with the Houston Gamblers in the USFL back in the day. Of course, if you're going to run the run and shoot and throw on just about every play, you need a good quarterback, and they certainly have it in Roosevelt.
He's got great size, 6 feet 1, 180 pounds. Let's talk about Naaman Roosevelt. He is Mr. Everything offensively. Big-time schools are looking at him, and you'll see why when you look at some of his stats. He is just a tremendous athlete with a great arm.
35 touchdowns this season. He's accounted for more than 3,000 all-purpose yards, has Naaman Roosevelt. And they'll take over now with a 1st down and 10, or I beg your pardon there, the graphic obviously showing just under 2,000 yards.
But more importantly, Steve, 30 touchdowns. That's an awful lot of throwing.
5 of those 35 total were on the ground for number 7, as they have a 1st and 10 here from the 40, out of the gun, and no surprise, they come out throwing, and that pass is complete, but only for about a yard or so, as the St. Joe's defense, or the St. Francis defense rather, reads it well. And we take a look now at the rest of this St. Joe's offense, and a very talented group.
They sure are. You're absolutely right.
4 wide receivers.
4 wide receivers. There's your big guys, but the 4 wide receivers make this go.
Papia, Steinwald, Logan, Piazza, and Campagna. Piazza, one of the 2 guys the Trench Trophy folks are looking at today. Johnson, Cook, Greer, and Dawson, they'll be the wideouts, and speedy ones at that. And maybe overlooked is Luke DeLuca, a very fine running back for them. And so here we go now on the 2nd down, and call it 8. And the draw play, and here is Luke DeLuca, and here's why he's so dangerous. As he has the 1st down and then some into St. Francis territory. He's out at the 38-yard line. And let's take another look. So many coaches talk about the importance of the passing game, but Luke DeLuca really makes this offense go, Frank.
Well, he's a senior. He's a terrific talent. A lot of big schools looking at him. 6 feet, 210 pounds. They come with 3 down linemen. That's not a run defense, so St. Joe's decides to take advantage of it. You see the outcome here. St. Joe's driving with that 4 wide receiver set, forcing the defense to get defensive backs into the game. St. Joe's offensive coaching staff recognizes the defense is weak against the run. You see a great run there from Luke DeLuca.
1st and 10 from the 37. Cook is in motion. Dominic Cook Roosevelt, of course, out of the gun, as he will be much of the day. Now he's forced to run, and he does that well. Ran into his own man. Back this way. Several Red Raiders in hot pursuit, but he still picks up a couple of yards, and now the flag for a late hit.
Yep, number 2 there, a little bit too anxious for St. Francis, and there's his name, Delano Fabor.
We were trying to figure out the proper pronunciation before the game, and certainly he's not too happy that this is the first opportunity we've had to mention it as a little too anxious. You know, we talked about it. These St. Francis guys are so eager to get back at St. Joe's for that loss, and maybe it shows itself right there.
Red ball, late hit out of bounds, on the defense, first down.
And it does have a little bit of an impact that it happened to be one of the premier players in Western New York high school football carrying that ball. As you look at the replay again, and he's along the sideline, he's going to be forced out of bounds, and there's the shove right there after he was 3 steps out of bounds. And obviously the officials saw it and threw the flag. This is not a good start for St. Francis. They're defending with the wind at their back. They want to pin down St. Joe's and force them to have to do something into the strong wind.
And notice the mobility of Jeff Pappy, one of their star offensive linemen, getting downfield to block for Roosevelt that time. So a 1st and 10 now from the 16, and again with the draw to DeLuca. DeLuca to the 11. He is a good runner, Frank.
And again, the quarterback has the option to determine what the play is. And again, you look at St. Francis on defense, they had 1 nose guard, 2 defensive ends. Everybody else is in a stand-up position. So they decide to fire out the running game. And Luke DeLuca is a guy that's going to carry the ball very effectively. It looks like they gave him 5 yards on that one.
Well, Coach Smith says the key to stopping Roosevelt is to keep him in the pocket and pressure him quickly. And to do that, they'll need a big night from these guys, Titus, McDonald, and Garvin. McDonald is also a Trench Trophy candidate. Brady, Haas, and Rottenstruck are the linebackers. And the backfield, the defensive backfield, Hayden, Fabor, DePaulo, Lawless, and Steve Miller, the strong safety. Another draw, another carry by DeLuca. Will he get to the end zone?
Yes.
Waiting for the signal, and he's in. Touchdown, St. Joe's.
Well, the defense that St. Francis is designed to slow down the passing attack has certainly done that because they haven't had the pass. You get the quarterback running, and you get DeLuca on 3 or 4 carries, taking the ball basically the full length of the field after the 35-yard drive start. And there's Jerry Smith. He can't be happy with the way his defense is setting up. DeLuca's running untouched, and he's strong enough to carry a tackler or a blocker or tackler, both actually, into the end zone when he's near the goal line.
Well, you can't say they weren't prepared, as Brendan Dens, by the way, getting ready to try the point after here for St. Joe's. And that kick is good, so 7-0. But Frank, you can't say St. Francis wasn't ready. Coach Smith told us during our meeting earlier in the week he was prepared for the running of Luke DeLuca. I guess it's just a matter of execution and stopping it.
Luke DeLuca on the season, 62 carries, 613 yards rushing, and 4 touchdowns. But look at this. That's not a very good tackle effort there by one of the deep backs. As sliding underneath DeLuca is not going to bring him down. But look at this. He's into the secondary before he really gets touched. And then a very poor tackling effort results in DeLuca just banging the ball over the goal line for the score. So 65-yard scoring drive. And look at the time they used to do it. That's that high-powered run and shoot type offense. You keep one running back in there. He's kind of the fail safe. And if you've got a good blocker like DeLuca is, as well as a good runner, he's going to contribute an awful lot to the efforts for St. Joe's. They couldn't have scripted a better start for the Marauders in this game.
And they also had the benefit of a St. Francis penalty, a roughing the passer call on Fabor, which also helped advance them down the football field. So now we'll get our first look at Elio DePaulo, the St. Francis quarterback. That is, if they handle the kickoff and don't lose the football here. St. Joe's ready to kick. They are using a holder because of the wind here at the Ralph.
Yeah, you see 3 return men back at the 20-yard line, so they know the wind is going to have an impact on this kickoff from St. Joe's. They're not expecting the ball to go very far at all.
And DePaulo is one of those return men. The quarterback, John Pinsky, handles the kickoff duties. And this one goes to the far side, dropped. That's that is actually number 17, Chaz Davis. Oh, and he is hit hard at the 30, and there's the flag.
St. Joe's maybe called for the late hit. I'm not sure why. I thought he was very, very close to the sideline and maybe hit inbounds, but the official may have thought differently. No, it is a holding call on the return team, and that was a call. That was a tremendous hit along the sideline. Number 6, Demario Johnson, a wide receiver actually playing on the kickoff coverage team, 5'8", 152. Watch the hit he puts on this return player, Chaz Davis. Just watch right here as it's going to come up. You'll feel it at home. Oh my.
With the shoulder. Shoulder pad on shoulder pad.
A clean shot that puts him on his backside. Well, you're talking about Ilio DiPaolo as they bring the offense out for St. Francis.
Well, Ilio DiPaolo, no stranger to this game, a lot of big game experience.
On the return team.
3-year starter at quarterback, but he does it all, Frank. He's also defensive back, punter, punt returner, kick returner, holder, all-purpose guy. But this is certainly his premier role, and they'll come out on the ground with Van Remmen, and he is stopped after about a 1-yard gain, Jonathan Van Remmen. So the St. Francis offense, led, of course, by Ilio DiPaolo, and he has his work cut out for him, Frank.
He sure does. 5'11", 180-pounder. He's thrown for a lot of touchdowns on this season. 10 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions, a very accurate passer. He can also run the ball. He scored 7 touchdowns running the football. But look at his work, 85 of 158. That's a pretty good completion percentage, over 1,000 yards throwing, and a very confident 3-year starter.
And Coach Smith says he has matured considerably. So a 1st and 10 now from the, or excuse me, 2nd and 9 from the 21. DiPaolo's in trouble. They say he's good under pressure. Let's see what he does. Evades one tackler and down he goes. He did not get past the line of scrimmage, and a hard hit again by the St. Joe's defense. They are fired up for this game.
I'll tell you what, Ilio DiPaolo there is expected to be able to run around just a little bit. He eludes a couple of tacklers, avoiding the sack, but I don't think he's expecting this hit from behind. And you rarely do. Just watch what happens. Boom, right there. He's fortunate he hung onto the football as he was starting to tuck it away, but that was a big blast from behind.
Anthony Biagiotti was one of them.
Good control by the defensive line, keeping him sort of in the pocket.
3rd and 9. Coach Smith says he's very good under pressure. He's going to need to get better tonight. DiPaolo to throw. Down he goes. Boy, do they have his number.
Wow. The defense for St. Joe is playing motivated and inspired. But how about the rest of the offense here for St. Francis as they go 3 and out?
Well, they haven't had an opportunity to do anything yet. Violante, Hollenbeck, Ring, Deneke, and Reedy, they'll have to do a better job protecting their quarterback. Favor, Brady, and Pat Hayden, the wide receiver, and Paul Eaton and John Van Remmen, who had that first carry, they are in the backfield. So Ilio DiPaolo pressured heavily, and now the punting situation here for St. Francis. And Naaman Roosevelt is back deep for this kick, standing at about his own 40-yard line. Blocked. Lawless's punt is blocked. Who has it?
Number 9, Devin Dawson, and he used his size 6'3" and 190 pounds. He gets the big hand on the football. He was coming from the left side, and he just got the big right hand, kind of almost an awkward reach out, but he got enough of the football to knock it down. What a great break again for St. Joe's. I guess Brendan ready to tell us a little bit more.
Timeout, St. Francis.
All right, guys, well, we got the timeout. I did get a weather update from the folks at Monsignor Martin. The tornado watch is now off for Western New York, but now we have a high wind warning in effect. Now, what exactly is a high wind warning opposed to a tornado warning? Well, now the winds are 30 to 40 miles an hour with gusts expected up to 70 miles an hour. And by the way, guys, I was told it is expected to get worse. And if you can look over my shoulder right now, that's exactly what they're talking about. Rain is coming, so the bad stuff is coming. So hopefully we can get as much of this game in as possible with the wind as it is now, which is not good right now, and hopefully without that rain. But guys, expect the weather to get worse. Back to you.
Well, Brendan, as you know, state regulations, if they see as much as a single bolt of lightning, it's a 30-minute delay automatically. Here's the block.
Terrific effort by Devin Dawson, again getting on Lawless. Lawless trying to be sure with the wind behind him that he got a good kick away, but look at this work by Dawson. He just got around the block of the protector there, and it was a big hand on the football, and then the ball is going to be recovered by one of his teammates on a 4th down play. It was irrelevant anyway. They're going to get possession at the 3-yard line, and you couldn't ask for a better first quarter for the St. Joe's Marauders, trying to make a statement here and trying to secure this AA championship.
I don't know if it's Roosevelt's birthday, but he sure got a gift. Great field position here with the 1st and goal. And their 4 wide receiver set. He's going to keep it as a flag flies. He's going to walk into the end zone, but I think this will come back.
Yeah, double shift there. Too many people moving at the same time. A 5-yard call, and coach's nightmare when you're in the inside the 5-yard land, when you're in the red zone at any time, and it's the 10th game of the season. To get a player not thinking of what he's supposed to do on the particular play is unacceptable at any coaching level, and I'm sure the coaches here will be telling this player that's a bad mistake.
On the offense, repeat 1st down.
Cost him 5 yards, Steve.
Yes, it did. I think that's Paul Trubinsky, by the way, our referee this afternoon.
It is Paul, yes. Yes, indeed.
Veteran ref. We meet with him every preseason to discuss the rule changes. And there's a look at Coach Bob O'Connor, who is certainly chagrined by the penalty.
He's just overly impressed. I mean, overwhelmingly impressed is what I should say with this offense that has come on. It's not been traditional St. Joe's football to run this widespread four-spread offense with the receivers getting a lot of passes thrown their way.
End zone touchdown, Dominic Cook. And he has his 13th touchdown catch of the season.
Well, that was just too easy. I mean, they get the 5-yard call. Quarterback drops back, and I'm not sure where the coverage was intended to be. Dominic Cook, 13th touchdown, as you said, coming in with that kind of numbers, 445 catches for 675 yards, and he is a real go-to player. In fact, Jerry Smith, the opposing coach, has a lot of respect for Dominic Cook's ability, and he's just a junior.
I beg your pardon, Frank. Brendan Denz again in for the point after out of the hold of Schmond. And that one is good, so 14 zip. And as I mentioned at the start of our telecast, Frank, we are right next to some of the St. Francis coaches, and they just look absolutely perplexed right now. Who would have thought they would be down 14 zip this early in the game?
Well, it's not the way they expected it to be. In fact, as you mentioned, they came in with a confident air, expecting that they are the best team in Western New York. They have no problem in saying that. The St. Francis Red Raiders across the way, but right now they're behind by 2 touchdowns, and we have not played, what, 5 minutes yet?
And more specifically, Frank, Coach Smith says, without the slightest fear of contradiction, Elio DiPaolo is the best quarterback in Western New York. He's going to need to step up as we see the touchdown once more. Nobody even near him. There was Fabor, though.
Well, he had a different assignment, though. He was on the outside wide receiver.
Right.
Dominic Cook in the slot was left uncovered. And David Roosevelt, again, in that run-and-shoot offense, he has a lot of options to look at. You know, with 4 receivers out there as well as his ability to run the ball, he's certainly gotten confident in this offense.
Pinsky again to kick for St. Joe's. And DiPaolo is among those awaiting this boot. It'll bounce again to, that's Glum, I beg your pardon, near side to the 40. So a little better starting field position. Let's see if they can do anything with it.
Well, the defense came up big the last time St. Francis had the football. We're talking about the defense for St. Joe's. They really manhandled the offensive line, both on the running plays and then the quarterback trying to drop back and throw the football. So DiPaolo and the offensive strategists for St. Francis have to come up with a way to protect their quarterback and allow at least a play to develop, because he was under a lot of duress that last sequence. And our score 14-0. St. Francis trailing here over against St. Joe's.
1st and 10 now from the 41. 2 men in the backfield behind Elio DiPaolo. He has 2 wideouts, and they will keep it on the ground with Van Remmen. Same first play as they used in the last drive, and once again it goes nowhere.
Dominic Cook, we talked about him a little while ago. He's just a junior, 4 sacks on the season, 66 tackles. And Dominic Cook, playing some inspired football, comes in with a solid hit right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. And St. Francis, they like to get out with a good first down call and good yardage on that.
Hellman, Piazza, Chalotto, and Papia all across the line for St. Joe's. The linebacking core, there's Cook, along with DeLuca and Biagiotti. And Roosevelt, Johnson, Dawson, and Greer, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the secondary. As it's 2nd down and 10, no gain officially on that play. Near side pitch. Oh, and a hit right away for Bohr. The ball rolls out of bounds, though. Fortunately for St. Francis, DeLuca just absolutely lit Fabor up.
Well, I'll tell you what, Luke DeLuca, he's a tough running back, but he's equally as good as a tackler. Maybe going to be destined to be a linebacker at the college ranks. 6 foot, 210-pound senior, leads the team easily in tackles, 110 on the season. And I'll tell you, you don't want to get hit by this guy very much. Just watch this pitch out again. It looks like it's going to be set up well, but watch. Boom, it's hard enough hit that the ball pops out and goes all the way to the sideline. Look at the replay one more time. Here comes DeLuca. Uh-oh, breaks down and smashes into the running back. He's fortunate the ball went out of bounds.
2-yard gain, 3rd and 8. DiPaolo to the air. Lots of options. Can he find one? No. Fabor, the intended receiver, coming across the middle of the field.
DeLuca that time, or pardon me, DiPaolo rather, was able to step into his throw. DeLuca coming off the field, as we said, with 110 tackles, easily leading the team. And he has the respect of his teammates, doesn't he? We're listening to him talk. It's all about Luke. Luke, they fear Luke. He's that good for St. Joe's.
So DiPaolo now stays on the field to punt. He is standing at his own 30-yard line after another unsuccessful drive. Looks like a ball cap is blowing around. It's blowing right toward him. Unabated. This kick will spiral, hits at about the 32 and out at around the 31-yard line. Let's take a look at the special teams unit, something we like to do here at 813. Put the spotlight on some of these skilled guys, and often it's the same guy who does a number of things, holds a number of positions. And for St. Francis, well, DePaulo does an awful lot. He punts, he holds, he's one of the kick return men with Glom. Deneke is the snapper, Mike Lawless, the kicker. And for St. Joe's, Den's kicks, Shabetta punts, Logan Schmond, and John Pinsky has already had the occasion to kick off twice. And he likes that because it means 2 St. Joe's scores. They're up 14-zip, and with the ball again, 1st and 10 from their own 32. 4 wide receivers, DeLuca alone in the backfield. Flags fly.
They may have taken too much time coming out of the huddle. Well, no, they say procedure call against the offense. Well, St. Joe's here, starting again back at their own side of midfield. They proved they can take the ball a distance.
False start on the offense, still 1st down.
With a 65-yard opening drive to score the first points of the game. Took advantage of a blocked punt to score again from a short distance, their 2nd touchdown, and the clock has stopped. Again, for our viewers, 6 minutes and 27 seconds left in this first quarter. We've had 2 touchdowns by this team, the St. Joe's Marauders.
They are for real, I'm a believer. As we have now a 1st and 15 after the penalty. Dominic Cook moving around, but they'll give to DeLuca on the draw. A favorite play for them, and he is smashed at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, he didn't get much that time.
Yeah, Brady and also Nick McDonald, one of those Trench Trophy finalists, in on the stop.
Well, this offense, is so much different from what we remember of St. Joe's and Bob O'Connor in his 25th year and days gone by. This 4 wide receiver set, 1 running back, and the quarterback having so many options was brought to them by Pat Thomas, a former Buffalo Bills coach. And he certainly made a big difference introducing the style of play from Mouse Davis, well-known name in professional football ranks.
Coach O'Connor can't believe how well his kids have learned this system and how quickly what's more. He says they were like thoroughbreds out of the paddock, but not this time for Roosevelt, as he is taken down, 1st sack of the day, and it's Nick McDonald. We were just talking about him, and he comes up big.
McDonald, pretty good sized player, 6'3", 250 pounds, lines up as a defensive lineman, either an end or a tackle. And Roosevelt had the play fake into DeLuca. That didn't draw any attention, and he thought he had a little bit of room to run, but boy, that cracked down real quick there as McDonald maybe got him up around the shoulder pad and just dragged him down to the turf.
Nick McDonald this season 2.5 sacks, so make that 3.5 now for him. He's also pressured the quarterback 10 times throughout the regular season. Let's not forget he's faced some pretty big quarterbacks at those Ohio schools they played. Roosevelt out of the gun. He wants to throw to the near side, and with all kinds of time, Cook got it.
What a catch.
Wow, in between 2 defenders.
2 receivers running the long in patterns, and they really they're running towards each other. They don't know it. Cook has got the best chance to make the reception, and he does. That ball floating into that strong breeze. That shows you the arm strength of Naaman Roosevelt. And he paid the price as he took a pretty big hit on 3rd down and probably 14 or 15 yards. Look at this. And the 2 players collide for St. Joe's. They're both there on the long posts. Let's look at the replay from a different angle. This is the quarterback getting popped by 2 St. Francis players. But still, the pass is complete. That's a big conversion.
Well, Dominic Cook came into this game with 45 receptions and had 1 touchdown catch in the first drive. As this pass to the near side, and Cook again, this time down to the 28, so they keep the drive alive, and you can imagine they'll probably have the sticks moving again here, as St. Francis so far has just been unable to stop them from advancing the football.
David Roosevelt is throwing an extremely good football game. I don't know if he's missed too many passes in this first quarter, but he's also finding his favorite receiver, Dominic Cook. And Cook is just one of those guys who's difficult to cover. Not the biggest guy at 5'9", 165, but he's got those quick stop and start moves. And again, any defender is going to have trouble staying with him, and David Roosevelt looks at him almost immediately when he's in the passing position.
They stress yards after contact, and you notice right there, Cook would not be taken down by the first guy. Look at the wind moving our camera. It is a stiff breeze, and Roosevelt throwing well into it, though we won't get the chance here as flags fly again. They were already flagged for an illegal shift penalty at the start of this drive.
Well, let's see what this call is going to be.
Red
Looks
ball
like St.
foul. Grossman on the defense. Penalty yardage gives him first down.
And I was looking at Jerry Smith, the coach across the way for St. Francis, as he was up and down shouting it again. I don't think he's happy with the way his team has started this game. Obviously down by 2 touchdowns, but things that St. Joe's wants to do offensively, they're just able to do.
Those jerseys are flapping in the breeze.
Yeah, that gusty, the breeze has really got gusty in the last few minutes especially. And we were talking, Brendan was saying the gusts getting up to maybe 70 miles per hour. We may see that, and we apologize. It may be affecting some of our telecast.
So a 1st and 10 now. Cook is in motion. He'll line up in the slot on the near side, but they're going to give to DeLuca straight ahead and down. Boy, I'm watching a lot of stuff just blowing around the field, bags and sheets of paper. To paraphrase Clement C. Moore, than 'twas the night before Christmas, as dry leaves before the wild shopping bags fly. Okay. With an obstacle mount to the sky.
Okay, a bug just landed on my paper. We can't have that. We can't have that.
It's unacceptable.
Absolutely. DeLuca against tough runner. 4 or 5 yard pickup on the play.
Our spotter up here, Steve Atkins, I think you're just going to have to keep the bugs off Frank's papers.
Everybody has a job to do.
We've got to keep him happy. We want to appease the talent. From the 18, Roosevelt pressured, might work to his advantage. He's being chased, looking for the stick, and I think he has it. And that's a good example of knowing exactly where the first down marker is.
You're absolutely right. And I'll tell you what this demonstrates. You saw his ability to throw the football now, and that's what college scouts are looking at. How good is this guy? How well does he throw the ball? Then you see the other factor that really gets their attention. How good is he on his feet? What kind of decisions does he make? Does he have athletic ability? Can he outrun the defense? And you just saw him do it there. A little bit of pressure as he's dropping back. Recognizes the situation, another good play there, and then he decides to take off. I can get the first down, and he uses his athletic skills and speed to get to the corner. But Naaman Roosevelt is a player to watch for the future in his college efforts. He's going somewhere, folks.
He's already got a full ride to New Hampshire. His coach is talking to Boston College, and Syracuse has been mentioned too. By the way, credit Haas for making the stop out there on the sideline. Roosevelt will give to DeLuca.
Punishing runner.
Yeah, right up the middle. They just can't bring him down right away. A lot of times you'll see a runner take it up the middle and get stopped immediately, but so far he's had a lot of success. And one more point about the running of Naaman Roosevelt, Frank. They said he did a lot more of it last year and took a pounding for it, and this year he's learned to stay in the pocket a little more often and wait for some plays to develop. But as he showed a moment ago, he could still run when he has to, and so can Luke.
There's DeLuca, and he delivers a blow to DePaulo as DePaulo comes up to help fight for the tackle.
2nd down and 5 from the 7-yard line for Roosevelt to throw. He wants the end zone. Does he have it? Yes. Touchdown to Greer.
Just too many offensive weapons at this point for the St. Francis defense. It's almost like the offense is playing 11-on-7 because the receivers are so wide open. Roosevelt, into a very strong breeze, throws a line drive, a bullet pass to John Greer, coming in 38 receptions, almost 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, his 6th touchdown right there, a 20-0 lead.
Well, it makes it over 500 for him. The point after by Dens hits the upright, so it makes it 20-0. And let's not forget, Frank, what kept St. Francis in this game last time was their unbelievable performance in the second half, and it's why they lost 29-27, not 29-7 or 29-0. So if they do mount a comeback, that missed extra point might be big.
Yeah, you never know. You want to make those work, but I'll tell you, the breeze is strong. The kickers demonstrated just enough of leg strength to get it through, up and over the crossbar and through the uprights on this previous 2 kicks. This one just doesn't get there. But watch this throw. Again, a slot receiver, not well covered. And boom. Boy, that thing never got more than 5-6 feet off the ground.
And you know, he kept lulling the defense into thinking he's going to constantly look for Dominic Cook, and then he throws toward John Greer for the first time, and it's an 11-yard touchdown.
John Greer makes the reception. Pretty good basketball player, as I recall, as well for St. Joe's. Now, one thing we were talking about, St. Francis thinks they have the best football team in Western New York. St. Joe's thinks they should be ranked #1 because they're ranked higher in the state polls than they are in the Western New York polls, behind Orchard Park. So go figure. There's a lot of controversy around football, especially when you involve the Catholic schools here in Western New York high school football play.
Let me correct myself, by the way, 7-yard touchdown, not 11. That was the last one. So Inside 3 minutes to play here, and St. Joe's with a 20-0 lead, kicking off Pinsky. And this one gets caught in that wind.
They don't have it. Who's got the football? That's a free ball.
That's maybe out of bounds.
Oh my gosh, what a break for St. Francis if it went out of bounds. Somebody's got to cover the ball. If it goes past 10 yards, it's a free ball.
You're absolutely right. And Jerry Smith over there in the red jumpsuit, St. Francis head coach, not too happy.
Boy, they are fortunate. And looking at it, the kickoff coming from the 40-yard line, the ball winds up going out of bounds at about the 44, 45-yard line of St. Francis. And I don't even know if they touched it, Steve. I think it just went out of bounds on its own.
I get the feeling we might see a little of Pat Hayden on this drive. Number 28, he's lined up as the wideout on the far side of the field. DiPaolo, though, comes out again on the ground with Van Remmen. Third possession, third time they started on 1st and 10 with Van Remmen, and third time he stopped for less than 5 yards.
Well, one of the weaknesses of the St. Francis team this year was being able to find running backs who could handle the stress and the ability to actually run the football and make plays. The St. Francis Red Raiders struggled with that throughout the season. They finally settled on a couple of guys. You're talking about Van Remmen and his partner back there, who gets the football from time to time as a tailback. But those two fellas for St. Francis have really helped out a lot.
Yeah, earlier this year, they were struggling to find a running game as Van Remmen is stuffed there. They actually, at one point, were using their center, Brendan Ring, as a fullback to block, and Hayden, the wide receiver, was in as a tailback. So finally, they brought a couple guys up from the JV squad, and it did pay some dividends for them, but as you can clearly see right here, they're just not managing any yardage against the St. Joe's defense.
I think Paul Eaton is the other running back that comes into the plays from time to time behind the offensive line. Yeah, 22 and 21 were the two players they settled on, is building their offensive momentum in the last few games of the season. 3rd and 9,
they've had too many 3rd and longs, and if they're going to put it in the end zone, they need to get themselves out of these kinds of situations. The swing out, and it's brought down by Hayden. I thought we might see him, but will he get to the stick? He will not. He's taken out at midfield, 5 yards shy, and once again, St. Francis in a punting situation.
Yeah, I would think they'd want to kick the ball and force St. Joe's to try and go the length of the field. If they miss on this 4th down play and fall behind by another touchdown, it's going to be extremely difficult to come back. It's going to be tough enough as it is. This was almost a lateral the way he threw the ball. Good catch by Hayden, and breaking up, disrupting the play there. Number 6 for St. Joe's, Demario Johnson, really threw the timing off as the running back or the wide receiver there had to make a couple of extra moves to get away.
So on 4th down and 5, looks like they will punt, barring a fake. DiPaolo standing at his own 36-yard line.
Fumble.
Oh boy, this isn't good. I don't think this is by design. Throws the pass. He is the quarterback, and it's intercepted at the 31. That's Roosevelt, the St. Joe's quarterback, shakes one tackler and steps out at the 37.
We got a hold on the offense anyway, so the play is going to be standing rather than negated. There was no defensive penalty. An offensive penalty is DiPaolo. I'm not sure if he was thinking about punting. I'm not sure why he would bobble the ball
on
as
the
he did.
offense. Penalties decline. 1st down, St. Joe's.
And that's one of those rare cases, Frank, where you see one quarterback throw to the other.
And again, Naaman Roosevelt maybe didn't have to intercept the football. He just knocks it down. They get field possession at the line of scrimmage. But look what happens here. Was he intending to punt?
I think he was.
Maybe
I really think so.
mishandled it, and it became a chaotic play from that point on as you see the ball thrown. Now watch Roosevelt. He's actually looking to return the punt. And when he intercepts here, he probably gives up about, well, 20 yards or so by intercepting the football. But I'll tell you what, high school football,
sometimes you don't think about that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with 1:13 to play in the 1st quarter and a 20-point lead, the St. Joe's offense goes to work. Ball caps and tees blowing onto the field as this play really goes nowhere. In fact, it's a loss.
Well, what they did this time, though, was they lined up with just the 1 down lineman, the 2 stand-up defensive ends, but they crashed and blitzed, a run blitz that time. Haas in on the tackle that time, Brian Haas, a junior at 6'1", 190. That really broke the play up.
62 tackles this season for Haas, by the way, Frank, coming into this game. He is a very talented member of this St. Francis defense. 2nd and 11, they'll call it a 1-yard loss.
St. Joe's wouldn't mind just hanging on to the ball and getting to the end of this 1st quarter, then having the wind at their back with possession of the football.
Cogent point, Frank. On 2nd and 11, the draw to DeLuca, their favorite play so far in this game. Not a lot. Looks like they are going to try to let this clock get down. We're inside 30 seconds to play, and they'll try to take the wind at their backs.
Injured player for St. Francis. That'll stop the clock. And we don't like to see anybody injured for either side. This guy, one of the interior linemen, it looks like.
Trying to get a look at who the number or the number on the jersey.
Something from what I can see. One of the starters on defense for St. Francis. By the way, while we have a moment here, just a reminder for all of our Catholic high school supporters and viewers of high school football. Time-and coach Paul Fitzpatrick retiring at the end of his 28th season. And there'll be a retirement party hosted for him at the Ironworkers Hall in West Seneca, New York, from 12 till 5 p.m. on Sunday, December 4th. And if you're interested, tickets are available at the door.
Well, we certainly hope the injured St. Francis player is okay. The trainers are tending to him at about the 36-yard line of St. Joe's. You know, Frank, we've seen a lot of key injuries in these games here at the Ralph this weekend. Most notably, perhaps, Sean Moran yesterday.
Yeah, you're right.
Going down from Orchard Park.
Questionable whether he'll be able to continue on for Orchard Park in the Far West Regionals. But, you know, it comes down to what football is all about. It's a very physical game, and to get through a full season, if you're a starter, especially if you're a starter both ways, offense, defense, and maybe even on the special teams, it's hard to get through a season without an injury. Now, they're all banged up a little bit here and there, the bumps and bruises. But you hate to see the legs situation because that could be a lifetime for some of these players.
And I talked to several of the trainers who were here, and they do bring in independent trainers for a lot of these games, often from UB and elsewhere. And they told me they think it's in part due to the emotion. The players are so excited to get here and play at the Ralph, and maybe a little too amped up, and they lay it out there on the line and wound up paying the price. As you can see, that injured Red Raider is now sitting up. We're trying to see exactly who it is, and once he turns, I'm sure we'll be able to.
Yeah, you just got to be concerned.
It's Nick McDonald, and he's a big member of this defense.
If he's able to walk off under his own power, that's a good thing. They certainly want to be absolutely sure about it. You don't want to rush him back in. You want to be absolutely sure that things are working the way they're supposed to. They're going to be closing out the first quarter, so he'll have a little bit of time to sit on the sidelines and regroup as well. But it's good to see him up and walking off under his own power.
Well, Nick McDonald, who has accounted for so many tackles and sacks this season, has one sack in this game already. We certainly hope he is okay.
I don't think St. Joe's even has to run another play if they don't want to. But St. Francis, recognizing the situation, decides, I think, to take a timeout.
Timeout.
Brendan
St.
Ring,
Francis,
by the way,
that's
is
their
second on the depth
timeout and a half.
chart behind McDonald at that nose guard position. Ring is the starting center for St. Francis on offense.
Jerry Smith, he doesn't know how many years he's been coaching, but we did get the word on his record. 98 wins, 68 losses, and 4 ties, the head coach for the St. Francis Red Raiders in his career. That's a pretty strong effort.
You know, Frank, he said something very interesting to us during the week, and you always hear different philosophies from the head coaches. And he told us his #1 goal is not winning football games, but it's getting his players into college.
And hopefully with the opportunity to play football if they choose to do that. They really, really work hard at St. Francis to, I want to say the right words here, advertise their players. I don't want to say, again, marketing is the wrong word perhaps, but they really get the word out that this player's got this talent. They make a film for them. They'll send it to different colleges. They'll be on the phone throughout the summer talking to coaches and recruiters about the talent that they're going to have, where they're strong, which players they think could help what programs. So they really go through an awful lot to make that work. Hey, Paul Trubinsky lost his hat. We can't have the referee without his hat.
We're going to have to get the usher down on the field, too.
I would have thought Brendan McDaniel would have got that hat for him.
Where is Brendan? You know, he told me he was going to wimp out and spend most of this game in the tunnel.
Well, he might have got blown up the tunnel.
3rd down and 9. 13 seconds to play here in this first quarter of play. Roosevelt to throw, being pressured. He'll be sacked. Second time in this game, and it was number 55 bursting through the line, Dan Shaw.
Timeout. St. Francis.
St. Francis.
As their 3rd and final charge, timeout and a half.
And you know, Frank, he is not a regular starter on this defense, so he may actually have been sent in place of the injured McDonald instead of Brendan Ring, who is actually listed as 2nd on the depth chart.
Well, what they really do here, thinking it a little bit, they use 2 timeouts in this sequence, but the wind is so strong that they want St. Joe's to punt the football into the wind. Good pressure there. Damon Roosevelt was not going to get away from 2 guys. As you see Shaw come off the tackle there. Nice effort on his part. Dan Shaw, a senior, getting some playing time. But you know, you got to use a little strategy. If you're down 3 touchdowns as they are, 20-0. For you viewers just joining us, I said 20-0. St. Joe's in this first quarter dominating St. Francis. Every little thing will start to play out in a bigger way for St. Francis the rest of this football game.
Well, what do you think St. Francis has to do offensively to really get it moving? I would say they need to open up the passing game a little bit more.
I don't see any other way at this point. They've got to rely on the strength of one of their key assets, and that's Ilio DiPaolo. Now, he had the wind at his back and could not get a first down in that first quarter. So what's he going to do with the wind in his face? You just got to have him settle down, and they've got to get some play calls that take the St. Joe's defense and put them in positions of risk.
8 seconds showing on the clock here in the first quarter. St. Francis trailing 20-zip. And the punt here by St. Joe's. Didn't think I'd say that for a long time. And this will angle off the foot of Joe Sciabetta and bounce out at around the 45-yard line.
And believe it or not, with the clock winding down to close out the first quarter, that was a pretty good effort.
Yes, it was. Actually, 48 is where they'll mark it. That's where St. Francis will start the second quarter of play as we step aside. St. Joe's 20, St. Francis nothing. It's the end of the first quarter at Ralph Wilson Stadium. St. Joe's fans, yeah, they've had a lot to cheer about. Their team is pitching a shutout.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, you were asking where I was actually going to do a little research. Naaman Roosevelt's last touchdown pass was 32 on the season. That puts him one behind the Western New York record, which is 33, which was set by Randall Stecky of Maple Grove back in 1999. So Roosevelt's next touchdown pass will tie a Western New York record of 33. Of course, Randall Stecky went on to a decent Division I career at UB. Of course, Naaman Roosevelt looking to go on to bigger and better things in Division I next year. But still, the touchdown record, it is in his grasp, guys.
DiPaolo to throw. I don't believe you were doing research, Brendan, as he is sacked all the way down at the 41. You know, Brendan, wait a minute. Get back in front of that camera. I don't believe for 1 second you were off doing research. I want to check with some of the folks back there at the trailer. I have a feeling you had some cold cuts, maybe a nice soft beverage.
Well, I don't want to cause any controversy, but I was with Tim Maloney from Monsignor Martin. While we were talking to Dick Gallagher on a cell phone, he did offer me up some steak and lobster, but
hey,
I just had a few bites because I had to go. I got work to do.
Brendan, who's that over your left shoulder there in the Florida Gators windbreaker?
That is the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Collins, of course.
Our good friend and colleague here at A13 worked a couple of games yesterday, enjoying this one with his sons as the punt, another 3-and-out for St. Francis. And this one is also caught in the wind, so St. Joe's will take over at their own 39. Well, Frank, you and I have been talking about it. 4 possessions for St. Francis, no first downs, and each possession, the first play was that inside handoff to John Van Remen. It's getting a little predictable.
Well, it very well could be that they'll have to change things up. They roll the quarterback out looking to get some room to throw the football on the 3rd down, and he was sacked. Of course, we wanted to find out what happened with Brendan, and the crumbs may have given things away, but let's not dwell on that. Anyway, the 4th down play, they're punting into the wind, and look at the field position again for the St. Joe's Marauders at their own 40 with the wind at their back and a terrific quarterback. Who knows what's going to happen in this quarter?
9:42 to play here in the second. Cook is lined up as the slot receiver on the near side. This one goes to Greer, who had the last touchdown, but he's not able to advance it much further beyond the 42-yard line where he made the catch.
And the quarterback, Roosevelt, upon release had a pretty good hit put on him, and he was still strong enough to release the pass out to his wide receiver. Greer gets a couple of yards, not much more than that, but more importantly, he didn't give up the sack, and he didn't lose the ball as the quarterback. There was no turnover. Look at the replay of this thing. And can't have a hat on the field. That thing's moving on its own. Referee and the officials, they got to be concerned about this wind also.
Well, I think it was a line in that great old Jelly Roll Morton hit in the 1920s, King Porter stomp. Hey, stop that. That stomp knocked me out of my hat. 8:55, Frank is absolutely perplexed. 8:55 to play in the first half. Roosevelt draw play to DeLuca near side, midfield, and into St. Francis territory.
Well, I don't know how to respond to a lot of things. Usually working with Walter John Sears, I become speechless, but Steve, I was speechless after that one.
You've never heard anybody quote Jelly Roll Morton before, have you?
Well, I haven't heard in the last couple of years, to be honest with you.
Maybe the last 70, I'd say.
Another life, maybe. But here, how about Luke DeLuca on this run again? And what a weapon he is in the backfield. I mean, he just literally makes the play when they need to have it happen. They are stopped on a short 2-yard pickup on the first pass, but they have that flexibility in that offense. And Bob O'Connor, he can't help himself. He's got to be standing on the sideline with a huge smile on his face because the game plan is working. That's a coach's dream.
Roosevelt has Greer in motion, so now a trips formation on the far side, but a flag flies. Another delay of game.
Ball, delay game on the offense, still first down.
And you notice that's the back judge, Frank, standing about 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, who keeps time on the field, and he threw that flag up and immediately signaled the delay of game.
Well, St. Joe's doesn't bother. Once the ball is set, they're ready to go again.
So Greer in motion again with that trips left. And Roosevelt keeps the football, tries to spin it inside, but nothing doing in there. I don't think that fooled anybody.
I'm surprised a little bit that after the initial hit, he still spun himself forward for a reasonably good gain on the play. Wasn't the best situation, but certainly he did make a positive gain out of it. Brings up 2nd and 11. So a 4-yard pickup on the play. Titus in on the tackle that time. Brent goes 6'3", 225. There's some good size. Looking at this roster for St. Francis, it's almost college level size with the big guys on the front line.
Yeah, actually, Coach Smith told us his guys are really ready for college football because they're almost playing in a Division III system as it is. Little bit of a high snap to Roosevelt. Gets rid of it right away, though, and it's hauled in by Cook. First down inside the 30 and down to the 26-yard line. Dominic Cook, what a weapon.
And this time the blitzing outside backer from the St. Francis Red Raiders was picked up beautifully and knocked off stride. That allowed Roosevelt that extra split second to see Cook come free over the middle of the field. You know, a second down and about 11 becomes a first down. They're just literally at will moving through the defense of St. Francis. And again, here's the pressure coming, but he steps into the throw. Cook has sure hands, as sure as you're going to see at the high school level. And he has the ability to break tackles on top of it.
Well, the coaches praised Roosevelt's ability to read the defense, and we saw it right there as he was very firm in his decision. A flag flies as Roosevelt goes to the end zone. Greer a little too high, but again, an illegal shift call on St. Joe's. So though they certainly have had St. Francis's number, they've also been guilty of a number of infractions.
Well, that's exactly right. This one would have come back anyway, but how wide open was the wide receiver? He was 5 yards behind the defensive back. Jerry Smith not concerned about the penalty at that point. He's thinking, how are we letting these receivers get behind us?
An illegal shift, 2 men in motion on the offense, still first down.
Jerry Smith talks about his teams getting film of all the games, I believe, of the opponents, or as many games as possible of the opponent. They certainly know St. Joe's from earlier in the season. Locally here in Western New York, they get a chance to see him play Canisius and Timon and other schools. There's not much you don't know about the opposition. And now, right now, they don't look like they can figure out what to do against them defensively.
You didn't know Jelly Roll Morton. Do you at least know the classic backfield in motion? I'm going to have to penalize you. 7:23 to play, second quarter. St. Joe's driving. The pitch to DeLuca. And wow, what a runner as he has the first down to just about the, I think they're going to mark it at about the 16-yard line.
Well, first, to answer your question before I talk about the play, yes, I know backfield in motion. That's Walter John Sears' favorite song. But secondly, as we talk about this game, I don't think they want to tackle Luke DeLuca. I don't think they want to hit him. I think, again, the deep back or the safety or whatever, defensive back almost avoided the hit there along the sideline because I thought Luke DeLuca was going to be pinned and pushed out of bounds, but he managed to go upfield for another 10 yards.
Here's what's most interesting about him, Frank. They mostly praised his defensive abilities. Coach O'Connor saying he's one of the finest linebackers they've ever had, but so far he's made his showing on offense. Roosevelt to throw, look left, throws across the middle. Greer, and he is into the end zone. His second touchdown catch. Is there any way to stop this St. Joe's run and shoot?
Well, I'll tell you a little bit of story as we have the touchdown recorded in favor of Naaman Roosevelt. That ties the all-time passing mark in a single season for touchdown throws by a Western New York quarterback with 33 now as he ties Randall Secchia. But as we get this extra point try, going back, this offense was not Bob O'Connor's favorite, and it wasn't even his thought process. And I'll tell you how they got together with Pat Thomas.
Point after by Dens. He missed the last one, and he misses this one too, so it's 26-0.
And let's go back to that situation. Bob O'Connor, other coaches here in Western New York, other people involved with football, whether it's college ranks, high school ranks, or the professional ranks, volunteered to spend some time serving meals at the St. Luke's Mission in the inner city part of Western New York in Buffalo. And there he met a guy named Pat Thomas, who is a secondary coach for the Buffalo Bills under their previous coach. Well, sure enough, they have a nice conversation, get along pretty well. They have a good day together. And Bob asked him if he's interested. Well, at the time, Pat was obligated elsewhere, and he said, well, maybe someday. Bob stayed with him. They became friends. Bob asked him again and said, can you come out and help us? Pat Thomas comes to the sideline, introduces this whole new concept of an offense. And look at what's happened to this team for St. Joe's. They're leading in this game 26-0 and making a statement, perhaps, about being called the #1 ranked school in Western New York.
Well, at first, Thomas called the plays until O'Connor learned the system well enough to do so himself. And, you know, I mentioned it earlier. He says they were like thoroughbreds coming out of the paddock. And you see how well this offense is executed. There's the evidence with a touchdown pass to Greer. Let's take it downstairs to Brendan McDaniels.
Thanks a lot, guys. One more note on that touchdown record. Randall Secchi set that record in 13 games. So, as you see, Naaman Roosevelt has done it in less than 13 games. So certainly the record for Naaman Roosevelt, pretty impressive considering the number of games he's done it in.
Chaz Davis mishandles another kick.
And how bad can things go? They're only going to get worse here for St. Francis as they're going into the wind here with 6:37 left in the second quarter, and their return people, first they didn't cover one kickoff, and then on this last kickoff, the return man bobbles it twice. Instead of going forward to try and just make something happen, he loses another 5 or 6 yards trying to take it to the wide side of the field. So things are really off track here for St. Francis.
Well, so far, they have opened every drive with the same play, an inside handoff to John Van Remmen, and I would think that's almost a microcosm for how they've played so far. They keep trying the same thing and it doesn't work, so let's see if they switch it up here. 1st and 10, pinned deep, their own 6-yard line. Ilio DiPaolo under center. And they will come out with a pass. He is flushed and so close to the end zone.
That was a good defensive play. He was looking to make some room to the left side of the field, and the tackler, number 52 defensively, that's Matt Piazza, 5'10", 225-pounder, literally watched the quarterback and shed the block at the right moment and actually fell on top of DiPaolo and lost. DiPaolo loses, what, another 4 or 5 yards. Just watch the defense here. See him watching, and all of a sudden he just leans over, reaches out, and throws him to the ground.
He was dangerously close to giving St. Joe's the 2 points they missed on the extra points. And credit Piazza there. He is a Trench Trophy nominee, 27 tackles, 3 sacks coming into this game. Call it 2nd and 15 now. St. Francis is in big trouble. They give, I would assume that's Van Remmen up the middle. Didn't get a good look at it, but whoever it is, he didn't go anyplace. It was John Van Remmen, number 21.
Well, a little something about John Van Remmen in the offense. Jonathan goes 5'10", 155. He's just a sophomore. And again, we talked about one of the weaknesses of the St. Francis team early on was apparently the discussion about a lack of a good running back or a combination of running backs. And they finally find one in a sophomore, and he's really made a big difference back there along with his teammate, Paul Eaton. And they're confident enough to let him start in all the big games now. That's saying quite a bit for a sophomore player. Things are in very, very difficult position right now for the St. Francis Red Raiders.
3rd down and 13. They've used 14 different rushers this year, thrown to 9 different receivers, but so far it's been the same group of plays. As obviously here with a quarterback sneak, they're just going to try to give their punter a little bit of room.
And the last couple of punts have not gone very far.
Punting into that wind.
For the St. Francis team as the second quarter went very much in favor of St. Joe's, and I would expect with the time left here in this first half, just a little less than 5 minutes, that they were looking for great field position again. And when do you stop if you're scoring touchdowns in this offense? It's like the old Buffalo Bills, to tell the truth. The no huddle that was run here so effectively for many years.
4th and 8, punter standing in his own end zone, and he's got to be careful. He's not back that deep, but if he steps on that end line, of course, it is a safety. Shabetta.
Oh boy, they got a roughing call. That's too bad. They got a roughing call on the punter, unnecessarily, mind you. A miscue by St. Joe's finally. A very short punt. St. Joe's would have been at the 20-yard line of St. Francis, but forget all that. I believe we're going to get a roughing call against the St. Joe's player trying to get there to block the punt, and again, he didn't have to do it. You'd have to see the replay to see the incidental contact, but it was just enough to get the attention of Paul Trubisky, who immediately reached back and threw the flag. And why? I asked Steve, why would you do that in this situation? Everything is going your way. You could put this game away with another score, I think, but you give St. Francis maybe a chance to hang on. Watch this and see what happens.
Running into the kicker on the receiving team.
Well, it looked like he was almost blocked into him, though, Frank.
But why even get close to him? I don't understand the thinking. You just got to put some token pressure there.
Calm yourself down. I think your hairspray's starting to frazzle.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, they don't give him the first down, but they allow him a 4th down.
I think I said Shabetta, by the way. Obviously, I meant to say Ilio DiPaolo, the St. Francis punter.
That's a break anyway that they didn't wind up with a first down, with an opportunity to keep the football in their hands.
Well, there's Cook, who has been such a good receiver for them. He is awaiting the punt along with Roosevelt, and I thought the play was dead. So did DiPaolo. Then he kicks it, and it's picked up by Cook at the 40. It's still alive. Cook, 30, spinning away, and he's down at the 32-yard line. So a slow developing punt, and then Cook, it looked like he was out of bounds. He wasn't, kept it alive, and picked up about another 8 yards.
DiPaolo, they're playing a little cat and mouse with the defense, because you know Bob O'Connor told his players, don't go near the punter. Just stay away from the punter. So DiPaolo hears this or knows this.
He heard you up here.
And as a senior, he's saying, well, maybe I'll just take a little time to let our team get downfield a little bit further. When he does punt the ball, it turned out to be pretty good, actually. Got it to the sideline. But again, Dominic Cook, what a nice move.
Yeah.
He's a great athlete.
I think Bob O'Connor heard you. You got a vein up there in the forehead, Zachary.
Well, I have a couple of veins.
3:32 to play. First half, St. Joe's looking to add to their 26-0 lead. Roosevelt to throw. He's got a man and a reception. Devin Dawson's first catch of the day, afternoon. So they have been spreading it around. Greer has 2 touchdowns. Cook has 1. Dawson comes up with a catch there. Demario Johnson's their other wideout, number 6. He hasn't been too active, but, you know, St. Francis talked to us about how they like to spread the football around. It's St. Joe's who's done it so well so far.
Well, this offense is geared to do that. Just have the quarterback find the right option, and so far he's been very effective at doing that. The receivers run pretty good patterns, too. You can see that. They're getting separation from the deep backs.
Fabor takes him out, gives him an escort to the sideline. Roosevelt. He just has so much time. Look at the blocking of that offensive line. Hit as he throws, end zone.
Oh, my.
He had 2 receivers down there. No flags, though.
And I think the wrong guy got his hands on the ball. It was intended for his teammate, who went by on the play. That would have been Dominic Cook, I believe. And Greer is pointing at Cook saying, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be in that area. You brought some defenders over, and I think Greer actually deflected the pass that would have been on the mark.
Good call.
Dominic Cook. Just unfortunate, 2 players at the same time in the same location offensively.
Well, we were talking. They like to spread this around like butter on a roll, Frank. But that time, 2 players in the end zone.
You see where I think it was intended to? Cook was coming from the wide side of the field, and David had a long look at him. He took a pretty good hit on the play.
Deke Tasker was one of the defenders, former Buffalo Bill Steve Tasker's son. This pass is caught at the 20-yard line.
Great hands.
Really?
Geez, Dominic Cook can play. He just snatches the ball out of the air, and Naaman throws it with a little heat on it as well. Well, what an asset that is to have a receiver you have confidence in, who can get open routinely and catches the ball with his hands like that. That's just great. Dominic Cook is, again, a junior, but you'll have to watch out for him.
Mike Rautenstrauch makes the stop. You know, Devin Dawson told us he's a very heady player. He said his main job is to read the safeties and the quarterbacks. Is it cover 2? Is it cover 3? Whatever it is, that's what he looks for, and then he takes it from there. Smart wide receiver and good hands, too. Roosevelt to throw. This time he's pressured. Swings it out to DeLuca, who is wide open, and he's going to dance into the end zone. Touchdown, St. Joe's.
That was a beautifully designed, well-executed offensive play. I mean, they've been throwing downfield. This time they swing DeLuca out after a little chip block. He's wide open. I mean, wide open. It's just a question of whether he's going to stumble over one of the yard markers or the stripes on the field before he gets into the end zone, and Naaman Roosevelt may have just set a record.
It's the first time. You're absolutely right. He did. That is the record for Naaman, and you know, it's interesting. That's the first time they really got a lot of pressure on him in that drive, and he just shows how well he responds to that pressure. Finds DeLuca, and DeLuca finds the end zone. Point after attempt. is good, and it is now no good. I beg your pardon, that did get pulled to the left. So 3 straight misses there, and it is now 32-0 St. Joe's.
Well, the only consolation you can take in the locker was that the other team has missed 3 of their 5 extra points. That's not enough.
No, that is.
Look at how well this play is designed. And the blockers are out there. Who are they going to block? I don't know. Who do you want to block? They almost give up the chase player, but DeLuca has good enough speed to take it to the end zone. Just a little chip block. Roosevelt sells it well, delivers it beautifully to Luke DeLuca down the sideline. Miller's going to try and catch him, but no way. DeLuca's into the end zone. All right, Brendan McDaniel. Hey, he's back out in the open elements, Steve.
Thanks a lot,
What's wrong with your ear?
I can't hear you guys. It's very loud down in the field, and the wind doesn't help a lot. I think I might be going deaf, but that's another story for another time. Another note about Naaman Roosevelt. On that last touchdown pass, it did set the Western New York record. Also on that, too, he's now become the 3rd quarterback in Western New York history to pass for over 2,000 yards in a single season. So, guys, the records keep on coming.
Has lost it there just for a split second. You see the extra point try. That goes wide left this time. Is that 5 touchdown passes? They did not have a running touchdown, did they?
DeLuca had the first one.
Okay,
so
it was
4.
one run.
1 to Cook, 2 to Green, 1 to DeLuca.
Look at this.
They just keep mishandling these kicks off, I guess you would say properly. DePaulo.
Well, DePaulo shows some pretty good athleticism, trying to make a play out of it anyway after dropping the ball. But just that 1 split second of allowing the team an extra 2 or 3 steps towards you puts the coverage or the return opportunity in distress. And the coverage a lot easier for the players coming down the field.
I think I'm trying to get too grammatical here. Kicks off, it just doesn't sound good. Is that DeLuca, by the way, who's down on the St. Joe's sideline being tended to by the trainers?
Well, Brendan's right down near the situation. Maybe he can take a look as they seem to be working on the ankle there of whoever that player is down the sideline.
It's 20-something, and looks to be 29. No, it's not. It is actually number 25. It's the man who just missed the extra point, Dens.
DeLuca's out in the middle of the field as his at the middle linebacker position.
Hard to see from up here, but that is Dens. And now DePaulo with a lot of time, but now he's forced to run out. And he'll pick up about 4 yards on that play.
A little information on Ilio DePaulo. He's not the tallest quarterback you're going to see, but a 3-year starter. Great arm, 5'11", 180 pounds. Again, throwing for more than 1,000 yards. But a little word there. Coach Six obviously is the best quarterback in Western New York. And also, he's being tabbed as a possible free safety. Good defensive back as well at one of the major colleges. So, Ilio DePaulo certainly continuing with the great athletic name here in Western New York, the DePaulo family, as we're heading down to 2:17 left here in the first half. Look at that score.
2nd and 5. DePaulo out of the gun. This might be what they need as he throws deep down the middle, but it's incomplete. His intended receiver was Delano Fabor.
And the only thing I ever wish for in these games at this level at Ralph Wilson Stadium is to avoid a blowout.
And this is the first one we've had.
All weekend.
First one we've had. The Randolph game, their win over Ellicottville in Class D, that was a shutout, but it was a close game. Silver Creek won late over Casadega Valley in Class C. Then all 3 games Saturday were close. The wins by Lackawanna, Grand Island, and Orchard Park especially. And earlier today, Cardinal O'Hara and St. Mary's was a close one.
Do they have a first down yet this
They do not.
Let's see if they can get one here.
3rd and 5. DePaulo keeps it, looking for blockers. Oh, he's taken down. And that was number 44, Scott Hellman.
Well, Hellman gets blocked out of the play initially, and DePaulo's dancing around looking to try and make the play, trying to get that first down in the first half. St. Joe's takes a timeout here, by the way, but Hellman has enough time to recover from being blocked out of the play and catch up with the play. And that, again, that says something about St. Joe's and the intensity that they see in this game. See where Hellman was? He was way off the play, but now he gets back into the position and takes Ilio DePaulo down, and I'm sure Ilio's feeling that tackle.
And then Luke DeLuca comes in to add his weight to that pile. One more look. Always get 3 looks here on 8-13.
Well, 4th down at about 8 or 9 yards with under 2 minutes left here in the first half. St. Joe's leading 32-0, and you know, even the fans here, what do we want to talk about? Dinner? I mean, after the game? Oh, by the way, we have to recognize Rick Carnahan for purchasing the buffet dinners and luncheons over the weekend. All the food's gone. I don't know if you know that.
I've had 2 hamburger buns.
Yes.
And a couple Pepsis. No meat,
Well, at least you
I've
got
been
the buns.
down on the sidelines.
You got the buns.
In the tray. Oh.
Count your blessings.
I'm not even going to touch that one.
Well, I'm just saying it the way you said it.
I've got the buns. Inside 2 minutes to play. I'm glad you noticed. DePaulo will punt again, standing at his own 22-yard line. Well, I'm watching my figure, Frank, because no one else will. Well, once again, he thought about maybe throwing it.
Oh, he almost hit his own
I
guy.
thought he did hit his own guy, number 53, Pat Deneke.
It really doesn't matter. It just depends on where they spot
Now
the ball.
a flag comes down.
You had a little extra activity between the St. Joe's punt return team and the coverage team for St. Francis, and the official threw the flag. It might be an unsportsmanlike conduct call. And there you see it, personal foul against St. Joe's, and that's what Bob O'Connor does not want. You don't want to give the opposition any opportunity to change momentum.
I'll be very interested to hear what Coach Jerry Smith has to say about this first half performance.
Smith.
So inside 2 minutes now, 1:46 showing on the clock, and St. Joe's, you would imagine, would probably just try to run it out.
Foul on the return team. First down.
And again, one more reminder for our viewers about the upcoming retirement party, Sunday, December 4th at the Yard Workers Hall, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. for Coach Paul Fitzpatrick, long-time and well-respected high school coach here in the Monsignor Martin Association. You can buy tickets at the door.
Roosevelt has his receivers bunched up near the line, and Dominic Cook will come in motion with a trips right. Roosevelt, all kinds of time, and he has his man right about a yard short of the first down marker. Hey, we said we hadn't heard from Demario Johnson. There he is.
Well, he's the, the fourth receiver?
Yes.
2 catch passes. Dawson has, certainly Cook has.
Oh, don't forget DeLuca, that's 5.
And Greer, you're right. And finally, Demario Johnson. Johnson had a very good season, 6 touchdowns. And good defensive player. He has 3 interceptions defensively. And as we said, David Roosevelt likes to mix it up. The clock is continuing to run. Why hurry here when you've got a 32-0 lead? I think things are working out well for you.
Clock is rolling, nearing 1 minute as Greer goes in motion. 3 receivers now on the left as Damon Roosevelt drops that snap, picks it up, and he always finds a way to make it work. DeLuca with room, near side, cuts it back inside. Luke DeLuca to the 35.
Dominic Cook delivers one heck of a block upfield. I mean, DeLuca's going to get the first down and a lot more, but what a blast as Dominic Cook lines up an unsuspecting tackler there for St. Francis, who will not forget that hit.
Let's not forget the last touchdown to DeLuca came off a broken play where Roosevelt was being heavily pressured.
He's showing his size and strength. That's the second or third time he's been hit. 6'1", 180-pounder. Look at the replay, and if you can see number 2 in the maroon jerseys as DeLuca takes this swing pass, it's well set up. Now watch what happens right here. Oh my, oh my, oh boy. Even I felt that one.
Oh, what? What a hit.
And the elbow might have gotten up a little bit. Just a little bit of an elbow, maybe 2, that might have drawn a flag. But watch again. Hate to see this.
Let's do this again. There it is.
Player knocked off stride, and everybody at St. Joe's side saying, yeah, let's do some more of that. Finally, they bring DeLuca down. But with 51 seconds left.
Let me try to, we're going to get one more look here. Let me try to choreograph this. What?
Yes, sir. That's the shoulder pad and a little bit of the elbow to boot from Dominic Cook, who really was enjoying that hit. Well, they take the ball down to about the 35-yard line, 1st and 10, 51 seconds left. I don't know how you stop this offense. I don't know if you can.
Well, if anybody's trying to figure it out, it's Coach Jerry Smith. He's got a lot of work to do at halftime.
Unfortunately, what happens is you look at the St. Francis cheerleaders there. Unfortunately, what happens is high school players, just like professionals, just like college-level players, they lose momentum. The air comes out of the balloon, and boy, it's hard to get anything going after that happens, and it's happened.
Roosevelt has 50 seconds with which to work. Pressure from behind, loses the football. Still loose. It's recovered by St. Joe's, and in the NFL, that would invoke a tuck rule discussion.
Well, a sack anyway on the play. You're right, Steve. It might have brought up some more discussion. But that's the first time they really got to Roosevelt and put a serious enough hit on that he wasn't able to complete his throwing motion.
Jeff Papia recovers the football for St. Joe's, one of those Trench Trophy nominees.
Let's see who gets there. And coming from the outside, 61 defensively.
That's Pat Garvin.
And a loss, pretty good loss of 7 yards.
That's the first major setback they've been dealt. Clock rolling, 10 seconds and counting. Roosevelt, this could be the last play of the half. Being pressured and chased by Steve Miller. He's flying like an eagle and out of bounds with 1 second left on the clock.
Now, how did he know that he was going to get out of bounds with 1 second left? How did he know that?
That's impressive.
He picks up the first down, which is impressive. He shows his athletic ability. And he's saying, I've got 1 second. I want to do something with it. I want to take another shot at the end zone. I'm not sure the coaches will let him. But Naaman Roosevelt outran the defense and got the corner. Again, nothing but impressed with his athletic ability. He is something.
Steve Miller was trying to take the right angle. You like that? That was the third song reference of the half, Frank.
It's pretty good. You are on a roll here. They're saying third down instead of first down, so maybe he didn't quite get the marker.
All right, well, 3rd and 1 second. So it's really a moot point, Frank. This is the last play of the half. Roosevelt looking for the end zone, trying to find Dawson.
Oh, he caught it just short.
Oh, but wait, there's a flag. Half can't end on a defensive penalty, can it?
It cannot. There will be an interference call because the receiver was slowed down, I think, by the defensive back. The only other possibility is they call offensive interference, but he catches the ball at the 1 yard line.
Well, we've got to talk about this because there was a very, very confusing situation at the end of the first half. The last time these teams met, and it resulted in a St. Joe's touchdown. There was a lot of discussion among the officials.
It's going against St. Francis because they are talking to David Roosevelt. They're going to get one more play.
It's going to happen to them again. Because in the first meeting, Red Raiders sacked the quarterback who threw an over-the-shoulder backwards pass to the receiver, landed out of bounds, nowhere near a receiver. One official called it incomplete. Another said it was a sack. Clock should have stopped. The half ended. O'Connor argued with the officials. A minute later, they came to Smith, gave him another chance, enough for one play, and it was a touchdown by St. Joe's.
Well, there's actually, depending on whose version you hear.
On the defensive team, as the clock ran out, accepting the penalty gives him 1 on time down.
This is almost eerie how this is happening again.
Well, talking about that controversial situation to close the first half, the score was certainly a lot closer. And depending on who you talk to, there was either 1 minute between as they walked up the field or 5 minutes later they came over. It just depends on which version you believe.
Coach Smith admits it was the proper call. His issue was with the procedure and how long it took for the officials to figure it out.
A little bit of a technical error there by the officials, which occasionally, but it almost rarely happens in high school football.
Untimed down, Roosevelt with 1 shot to the end zone. He has 4 wideouts and DeLuca standing alongside. Who will he throw to? Near side, Dawson again gets a little push. Flag flies again.
You got to do it again.
2 untimed downs to end the half. Maybe 32 zip, but it's still an entertaining affair.
Yes, sir. If you love high school football and you love competitive high school football, you missed the earlier games. This one here is pretty good football as you're seeing an offensive display put on by the St. Joe's Marauders. And again, we're going to get that no time left and a defensive penalty.
On the offense.
Wait a minute.
Decline, half is over.
Whoa.
Boy. They called Devin Dawson. I think the officials said enough. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's call it.
All right, well, Brendan McDaniels is working the sidelines that he has. Coach Bob O'Connor from St. Joe's.
Yeah, Bob O'Connor ready to talk to us over there on the near sideline. Brendan taking the safe route. Let's hear from Bob O'Connor.
Thanks a lot, guys. Coach, everything going well on offense. You're shutting them down on defense. Can you ask for anything more from your team?
No. This is kind of, we've been getting better every week. And with the offense that we're running, thanks to Pat Thomas, I don't think there's a team in the state that can stop us.
Now, how do you keep your team at halftime to realize that there's a whole nother half left to play, and this is a very good St. Francis team?
Well, right now it's about setting records. Naaman just broke the record, and he can add to that because he's only played 3 full games this whole season because we've been scoring so many points. So, we'll play the guys at least another quarter.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys, back up to you.
And then Naaman Roosevelt has the record touchdown passes in a single season. What an impressive first half. We shall step aside. St. Joe's leading 32-zip at the half. Second half action straight ahead. You're watching the Monsignor Martin's Class AA Final on Adelphia, Channel 13 Sports.
Towards the end of the line. It's caught.
What a catch!
Touchdown.
What a catch!
Fumbles the football. It's loose on the carpet. You're kidding me. Oh, my God.
Everyone, I'm Walter John Sears along with my good friend and colleague Frank Stewart.
Fumble in the backfield. They win.
Oh, my goodness.
Just the way I designed it.
We want the to cover the high school football in the last 10 years. To let them that a lot of people throughout the state are led.
Santa Claus was dreaming of everyone's holiday stress.
Lose the stress, Santa. Get a head start on the holidays at McKinley Mall. On the Sunday before Thanksgiving, McKinley Mall is reopening at 6 p.m. for a unique shopping event. There'll be special discounts, free gift wrapping, prizes, and more. Holiday Head Start is your one-night-only chance to avoid the holiday rush. Tickets are just $5 and benefit a great charity. So, see you at McKinley Mall for Holiday Head Start.
You roar, we'll soar. The high-flying Niagara Purple Eagles are already in full swing. Niagara is affordable family fun, and you'll never be closer to the action. 100 years of basketball, 10 years of hockey, one season to remember. Go to Ticketmaster.com or any Ticketmaster outlet or call 286-8622 and get to an upcoming game today. The Niagara University Purple Eagles. Let's get ready to roar.
Hey Buffalo, I'm Baby Joe Macy, and you're watching Adelphia 813.
It has been all St. Joe's, a 32-0 halftime lead on top of St. Francis as we welcome you back inside this venerable edifice, Ralph Wilson Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Downstairs to the third member of our broadcast crew, Brendan McDaniels.
Thanks a lot, guys. I had a chance to talk to Jerry Smith, the head coach of St. Francis, coming out of the locker room. Very spirited for the Red Raiders as they came out of the locker room. I said to Jerry Smith, what did you say to your guys at halftime? And he said, very simply, I told them that they have to have the passion to play in this game. Don't come out wide-eyed because of the score. Go out, have the passion to play because you want to. He said, look inside your heart, check your heart, and come out here and play because you want to, and you want to make this change. You want to change the second half and go out and do it. So let's see how St. Francis responds. Certainly the team was very upbeat coming out of the locker room, so let's see if that reflects on the field, guys.
All right, Brendan, thank you. And as we take it back up here to the booth, and Steve Flemish alongside Frank Stewart. Frank, we talked with Coach Smith earlier in the week, and he told us their second half comeback in the first meeting between these two teams, although it was a losing effort, their second half was phenomenal, and it really epitomized their ability to hang in there.
Well, I think you're right. He did take pains, actually, to tell us a little bit more about that because the score was close, but they trailed at halftime, and they really turned it on in the second half. He's certainly looking to draw on that previous experience here and play to the players' emotions. They're young enough. They're malleable enough to really grasp into the idea, and what you need is just a momentum shift. They did not pick up a first down, as I recall, in the first half, Steve.
They did not.
That's just the first step to get back into the contest. You've got to get possession of the football again, maybe hold on defense here, of course, and then do something when you have the ball.
Mike Lawless gets us underway in the second half, and this is going right toward Naaman Roosevelt at the 4. Roosevelt across the 15, the 20, 25, Naaman Roosevelt. What a start to the second half. They pick up right where they left off. And Naaman Roosevelt down to the St. Francis 42.
Well, what else can he do out there today to help his team? I'm a little surprised he's back again returning kicks, but he's such a good athlete. The coach has so much confidence in him that he's able to return the kick rather easily. He averages 48 yards per kickoff return. He's had a 90-yard touchdown run and a 93-yard touchdown run on receiving kicks. He's that good.
Naaman Roosevelt with 4 touchdown passes in the first half, including the record 34 now in a single season. That breaks the mark set by Maple Grove's Randall Secchi a few years ago. It was a touchdown to Luke DeLuca, made it 32-zip, our current score. So a record-breaking first half for Roosevelt. Who knows what he's capable of here with 5 wide receivers. First time they've shown that look tonight.
And the defense trying to figure out who to cover. They got 3 wide to the right, 2 to the left.
Yeah, they're jumping and shaking back there. It's a draw play to DeLuca, and they've run this a lot so far. DeLuca finds a way to bounce it outside for the first down, and now a flag comes down as Luke DeLuca off the draw again, picking up big yardage.
Well, they checked the defense out, and maybe Naaman Roosevelt knew the play. It's a holding call against the offense. Maybe he knew the play and what was coming. But once he saw the defense, he brought DeLuca back in to a running back position, and then it's just a handoff, and it's power to the right side.
And this isn't good. Pat Hayden, who wants to study pre-med at Holy Cross, is right now the subject of a medical examination himself as he's injured.
First down.
Hayden is down on the turf at about the 28-yard line as we take a look at the replay.
Look at this play. Luke DeLuca again. Nobody touches him. He's running into the backs of his own blocking backs and linemen in front of him before he actually gets hit. He may have fallen on top of Pat Hayden in an awkward way, the way the play wound up. So hopefully Pat Hayden will be able to get to his feet. But Naaman Roosevelt and the St. Joe's Marauders off to another great start here in the second half. Everything went their way in the first half. The defense was exceptional. The offense was unstoppable.
Well, Pat Hayden's still down. Obviously, that's the concern right now of the St. Francis players and fans. Interesting, his last name is spelled H-A-I-D-O-N as he's now to his feet. Not H-A-D-E-N, though it is pronounced the same as Pat Hayden, the former Rams quarterback, now a broadcaster with NBC. That Pat Hayden was a Rhodes Scholar, and this one's pretty smart too, Frank.
He sure is. He's being talked to as an athlete, a football player by some of the teams in the Patriot Leagues and the Ivy Leagues, and especially interested, I guess, now in Holy Cross also. So he'll be playing college football somewhere.
I think he's one of those guys that they really need to get involved here in the second half if they're going to mount any kind of a comeback. Right now, though, the big key is on defense as Naaman Roosevelt in a rare appearance under center from the 39-yard line. And DeLuca now comes in motion. He gets the pitch. Looked a little like a jet sweep that time as he cuts it inside the 30, breaks DePaulo's tackle, and he's down at the 19. Look at the moves of Luke DeLuca.
Well, the play is coming back again, though. It was that good a play. And how did he get so free to run so well and make those moves? Well, there's some holding, and let's see what they're going to do here. I think it's going against the offense. For the second, basically, play in a row, they're going to be penalized.
Jeff Brady made the tackle, by the way, but we will have to check on the penalty marker. Watch these moves.
I think one of the players reached out and grabbed a little bit of jersey of the St. Francis player, but Luke DeLuca, he's doing it all.
On the offense, repeat first down.
Well, St. Joe's hasn't made... let me correct that. They did make a few mistakes in the first half in terms of penalties. We saw a few false starts and a couple of illegal shift penalties, but it certainly hasn't been enough to chip away at their lead and their dominating presence.
Well, we're looking at the same situation. It's still first down here as the penalty puts the ball back to the other line of scrimmage. It's 1st and 8, kind of a funky quirk of the rules where the ball is marked from the spot of the foul.
Naaman again, 4 wides, and DeLuca joins him in the backfield out of the gun. He wanted the draw, but again a flag.
I think they had some movement by the offensive line that time, so 3 straight penalties offensively.
It's getting messy now. Another false start. Well, I just said it. They had a couple in the first half. So, you know, Brendan talked to Bob O'Connor, and there wasn't much else they could do. I think he's found a few things to work on.
Ball start on the offense. Repeat first down.
Well, one of the discussion points, and everybody has an opinion about it if you're around high school sports, and especially football here in Western New York, is the Catholic season comes to a close on this day for all their players, and they certainly would like the opportunity as one of the few areas of New York State, rather, here in Western New York anyway, that does not allow the Catholics to compete in the state championship playdown. And these teams think they'd be good representatives for that.
Oh my goodness, how does he break that tackle as he gets it inside the 35-yard line? And Jeff Brady again takes him down. He's been coming up big defensively here, trying to keep DeLuca in check, but it's not easy.
Well, one of the things I think I mentioned it earlier in the first half is when he comes at you, especially with a head of steam or speed behind him there, I think some of the defensive cornerbacks and the safeties are a little fearful of putting the hit on him. And what he's doing now is he's kind of stopping in mid-stride or putting the brakes on, and everybody's going by him. He's showing some great balance and quickness to be able to do that for a guy his size. But I think it's part of the fact that St. Francis really didn't want to have a lot of contact with Luke DeLuca here tonight.
2nd and 2. DeLuca once again lines up as a wideout, but he's often come in motion from that stance. And it looks like he will stay up at the top of your screen as Roosevelt will keep. But he goes nowhere as he is met almost immediately. And again, Brady, the 3rd consecutive play, he makes the tackle.
Well, he's delivering at least what the coach was talking about. Play with some emotion, play with passion. If you like this game, make a statement out here in this third and fourth quarter. We may not win. You know the coach didn't tell him that. But if we don't start playing with a little bit more enthusiasm, we're going to get run right out of the stadium all the way back to our own Athol Springs High School.
Brady came into this game with 63 tackles and 4.5 sacks. He's also known for pressuring the quarterback. And right now, he's had the unenviable task of trying to stop Luke DeLuca. 3rd and 1. Should be an easy pickup. And it is, as Naaman Roosevelt buries his head and takes it down to the 30-yard line.
And don't underestimate his size. We talked about him earlier. He's 6'1" and 180 pounds. Maybe not the tallest quarterback that you want to see at the college level, but when he could move and throw as well as he does, you don't necessarily have to have that prototype size to make an impact. I think he's going to be a pretty good college player. Here's the replay, and you just see his strength running behind the offensive line there for St. Joe's, and can't avoid talking about those guys. You got Papia, Steinwald,
and look
Logan,
who's in the middle, by the way, making the tackle.
Piazza and Companion.
Brady again. Out of the gun, Roosevelt, near side, end zone, Johnson, and it's a little too short.
Well, the wind knocked it down, Steve. Receiver was one stride behind the defensive back, but when they both looked back at the ball, it just kept dying on them. They had to slow down, stop actually, then dive back towards the quarterback to try and make a play.
Well, they had the advantage of going with the wind in the second quarter, and they'll get that again in the fourth. But as we heard from Brendan McDaniels, they were talking to Bob O'Connor, we might not see some of these big stars in the fourth quarter if it remains a blowout.
St. Francis with an extra player out there on the field, they had to get him off.
And now it's Dominic Cook in motion as Roosevelt wants to throw, being pressured near side, and that's DeLuca. Shakes and bakes Brady this time, hurdles a defender, and he's down to the 20-yard line. And the tackle is made there by number 17, Chaz Davis, much maligned on a number of special teams plays.
Davis didn't shy away from the contact this time. He got down way low and took DeLuca's legs out. DeLuca tried to jump over the tackle. Again, a well-called and well-timed play. You know, you get the pressure coming, the lineman block temporarily, then release out the block out in front of the screen pass, and look at that. Shoulder pad into the legs of the running back, and that's how you break it down.
Walt, oh my goodness, I almost called you Walt.
That's all right.
Frank, is it
on the
me?
list.
You're compiling a list over there,
Absolutely.
aren't you? And then you'll be meeting with Rick Carnath later in the week, our coordinating producer, executive producer, excuse me. Is it me or are the lights flickering in here?
That's you.
You didn't notice that?
I did not notice that. First down. It's pretty close.
Did you see that? All right, our spotter, Steve Atkins, he saw it. Definitely a flicker.
I blinked at the right time, so I don't see it.
Oh, you know, the master of the excuse.
Well, they're about what, just about the length of the football shy of the first down. Third down, two-down territory for them. They certainly wouldn't want to try a field goal here. They'd probably try to have the quarterback again, Naaman Roosevelt, run that quarterback keeper. The safest play in any high school, college, and professional ranks is the quarterback sneak. I expect we'll see it here. Keep the drive alive, keep the clock moving. And the celebration would begin.
Well, some of those fans down there for St. Joe's have already begun the celebration. We saw them tearing up a St. Francis banner at halftime. I guess that must be sweet for them to be dominating and having beaten this team once already this year, this bitter rivalry in Monsignor Martin.
There's the quarterback sneak as expected. But St. Francis has gone to this game 6 straight times, as I recall from our conversation with head coach Jerry Smith.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing them on the visiting sideline.
And
there is
home
Smith.
team for this game was St. Joe's, based on their early season victory. Kind of the top seed in the tournament play down here to get to this game.
Well, their only loss this season, St. Joe's, that is, was to Steubenville, Ohio. And it was a close loss, too, 35-28, I believe, as the lights flicker again here at the Ralph. And Roosevelt drops all the way back to his 30. And look at this. DeLuca again breaks one tackle and finally brought down at the 19. I think that was Zach Zabo, number 99, making the stop.
Quite impressive. The play call again was well timed, and I thought it was going to go for the touchdown, but the pursuit finally got there. And
And somebody just turned on a giant Cool Zone fan over the stadium. Look at the rain coming down.
The great mist, isn't it?
And the fans are running for cover. And Brendan McDaniels, he's getting out the umbrella. There it goes.
He's toughing it out, though. All credit to Brendan.
But let's not forget, in the last game, I went a good 10 minutes without the umbrella. And look, advertising arrival. No shame. Roosevelt to the end zone, intercepted, finally something big, and it's DiPaolo, the quarterback. He says, you know, I want this football back. I want to try something here.
Well, this is one of those times where the free safety DiPaolo makes the right break on the football as Naaman Roosevelt maybe puts a little bit too much touch on the ball. Again, going into a very strong breeze. We're estimating 25 to 35 miles per hour. And you try to put touch into the end zone. The receiver was open. But by lofting the ball, the wind gets a chance to knock it down. DiPaolo stepped in front on the good break. Finally, for St. Francis, something to get excited about. But almost half of this third quarter is gone.
That's right. Clock is definitely not on the side of the Red Raiders. From the 4-yard line now, Elio DiPaolo, raved about by his coach. As we take one more look at his work here on the interception, just stepping right in front of the receiver there.
He's a good football player, Elio DiPaolo, a name to be talked about in the future in the college ranks for sure, depending on where he goes and where he plays. But you cannot deny the credit that goes to this side of the field here for the St. Joe's Marauders and their coaching staff. How well prepared. The game plan has worked to perfection for them. They've scored 32 points. They've shut out the opposition. They've literally held St. Francis without a first down through 2.5 quarters here, and St. Francis still, in my mind, looking for their first down of this game.
And as I mentioned before, Coach Smith says Elio DiPaolo is the best quarterback in Western New York, and it's in situations like this where I guess you really have to become a leader on the field, step up and get your team motivated to, despite a 32-point deficit, find a way to make something happen, as the rain has suddenly stopped. DiPaolo under center now on the 1st and 10. Taking a lot of time here. He's going to keep it near side, tries to turn the corner and does not. He's creamed by number 7, Naaman Roosevelt, the quarterback.
Well, Naaman Roosevelt just missed as DiPaolo ducked underneath, and I mean just missed, because he was coming up high enough where I think the officials even talking to him saying, let's not have anybody get hurt out here at this point in the game. You've got this game under control. But watch the conclusion as DiPaolo just slides as Roosevelt right there put the shoulder pad towards the helmet. That would have hurt. But DiPaolo just ducked underneath that tackle. Maybe a yard pickup on this one.
And credit Dominic Cook for initially bringing him down, and then Roosevelt at the end there. So on 2nd down and 9 now. Look at that goalpost behind them blowing in the wind. DiPaolo gives straight ahead, some running room, but quickly closes up. That carry made by Van Remmen and a tackle made by Cook. Second straight defensive play for him.
Well, a nice gain, though, for a change. About a 5-yard pickup on the offensive carry. And St. Francis, so their backs to the end zone and the score out of control here, just trying to establish something offensively to keep their offense out on the field. And I think, as I said, coming out of halftime, you got to pick up a first down.
Yeah.
St. Joe's would love to shut them out completely, not only on the scoreboard, but in the stats column. That would be unprecedented.
Excuse me, Frank. Van Remmen checks out as Mike Lawless will now be lined up on the near side as a wideout. So it's 3rd and 4, but with a 4-receiver set. This looks a little like the St. Joe's offense here. As DiPaolo will throw. Wanted to go on the far side, and he's sacked. Dominic Cook again. And then he's finished off by Scott Hellman.
Well, Cook got there first, and they knew he was coming. That's the amazing thing. DiPaolo pointed over to the right defensive end and say, here's the blitzer coming, and Dominic Cook still got there. They knew he was coming. They couldn't block him. They couldn't stop him, and DiPaolo's got to be obviously frustrated, saying, I have nothing. I can't say anything. I mean, I don't get the time to set up to take a look down the field, much less throw the ball.
Dominic Cook has been a star defensively on this drive.
There he is.
Wow.
Gets to the initial contact and just hangs on as DiPaolo tried to duck away.
It's enough to slow him down. Cook came in with 66 tackles and 4 sacks, couple fumble recoveries too, and now DiPaolo punting from deep within his own end zone, picks it up off the turf,
boy.
And what a sloppy kick that is. I think somebody got a piece of it. And once again, they've given a gift to Naaman Roosevelt and the St. Joe's offense. They'll take over at about the 26-yard line of St. Francis.
Well, they did not pressure him to the point of getting a block or a deflection or any of that. They just controlled you know, where he was going to kick from, and I really think this is the case where DiPaolo took his eye off the ball. As a punter, you've got to have that hand-eye coordination along with your leg, and I just think he looked away, because the way, after he kicked the ball, he put his head down and threw his hands up a little bit, saying, what else is going to go wrong here? Take a look at what happens. Does he take his eye off the ball? Well, maybe not, but it still went off the side of his foot, obviously. And there you see it go out of bounds. What field position here for St. Joe's?
I thought maybe somebody had been blocked into it. Evidently not, but as you pointed out, the special teams woes continue, and what else could go wrong for this St. Francis team? Totally demoralizing. The give to DeLuca, cuts it back inside, and he is down now to the 16-yard line. Luke DeLuca is the only man who's actually carried the football in this game for St. Joe's, and the tackle is made by Brady.
Calling his number an awful lot. He's certainly helping out here. Jeff Brady, the senior. Look at the size of that linebacker, 6'3", 235 pounds. One of the few players that really can challenge Luke DeLuca in strength and size.
Yeah, you see,
the cleanup on the play. You see Brady getting involved. Lautenstraub kind of slowed the play down just enough to help Brady get back into the flow.
It's those big arms wrapped around DeLuca. As we are nearing the 3-minute mark here in the third quarter, Roosevelt out of the gun. Thought about the draw, now he's being chased, and he is brought down well behind the line. And,
and everybody else in the offensive unit there is saying, why did he just hand the ball off? Why would he be trying to do that on his own? As he just cost us about, what, 5 yards, maybe a little bit more than that. And actually more than that, probably about 9 yards.
And that's one of the few times in this game we've seen him pressured and not be able to make something happen.
Well, it's a team sport, and you can't do everything on your own, because had that handoff gone, the running back had blockers, and everybody was over there for a reason. They thought the play was going over there. Naaman was trying to do a little bit too much maybe on his own that time, as he has the option to do with the football what he wants, either run it, throw it, or keep it.
DiPaolo and Rottenstrack in on that one, and now on 3rd and 15, a rare 3rd and 15 for this team. Dominic Cook goes nowhere. And look who it is. Mr. Brady, number 6.
Well, one guy hasn't quit for St. Francis, and that is Brady. He saw the play developing. They don't have DeLuca out there as that option on the screen pass, but instead they go to Dominic Cook this time, and you'd think that would upset the defense, but Brady read it right, stepped right into the play as they read Naaman Roosevelt's casual walk back there, and then look at this, Brady's right on top, and a big loss on the play.
You're absolutely right, Frank. I think if there's one guy on the St. Francis team that shouldn't hang his head too low, it's Brady, because he certainly has been involved heavily on the defensive side of the football. He has not quit.
And I look down on the sideline, and we see some warm-up action by the backup quarterback for St. Joe's.
Roosevelt still in, though, right now, and he throws it near side. Cook, could not hold on. And he had number 4, Mike Rottenstrack, right in his face, but a rare drop by a St. Joe's wideout.
Yeah, he's talking to Naaman Roosevelt, saying, yep, it was just one that I looked away from because he was not going to get the first down at the point of the catch. He had to do something with it afterwards, and I don't think he was thinking about catching the ball first. He might have looked away just in the last second, and it popped away. And he knows it. Not his, well, not the quarterback's fault. That's what he was saying to Roosevelt. Number 7 out there, as you see Naaman.
Terrence Schmond, number 14, is the backup quarterback. You can see just at the bottom of your screen there, he is now warming up. And we do expect to see him at some point, but right now, some new life for St. Francis. Lawless coming in motion as the the rush is on again. DiPaolo breaks a couple of would-be tackles, cuts it back inside, still alive, and he's brought down about a half yard beyond the line of scrimmage. So an awful lot of running, Frank, for about a half a yard.
Yeah, he runs 20 yards to pick up 1 on the stats column, and that shows you a pretty good athletic play on his part, because St. Joe's, their linebackers are quick. DiPaolo's quick, but they're able to run with them. This time he just outran him just enough to get away from the pressure. As you look at it again, here comes Dominic Cook. That's a miss. Number 44 on the chase. That's a miss. Scott Hillman missed, and then of course the rest of the team gets involved. And
Cook gets him back. DiPaolo gives Van Remmen, breaks one tackle and turns the corner, and he's going to be within about 2 yards of the first down. And I think right now you take baby steps, really, if you're the St. Francis offense, and first down would be the first step.
And you're right, and we're going to come to the close of this third quarter without another play being run. And St. Francis didn't get much done in the third quarter. St. Joe's did what they had to do. They held on to their big lead.
But St. Francis is going to have to go into the wind in the fourth quarter as we'll switch sides and come back. 12 minutes remain. It's St. Joe's 32, St. Francis nothing. You're watching the Monsignor Martin Class AA Final on Adelphia, Channel 13 Sports.
And Thursday evening at 7:30 on Channel 13.
Jonathan Van Remmen carries to start the fourth quarter, but St. Francis is still searching for its first down here as we welcome you back inside the Ralph. Steve Flamish, Frank Stewart, Brendan McDaniels here as St. Francis trails St. Joe's 32-zip in the Class AA Final of the Monsignor Martins Association.
And what a game to wrap up our weekend. We had some real competitive battles through the 7-game session here at the Ralph. This is game number 7 on our list. Credit to our crew members for all the time and energy put into this weekend.
Yeah, they're here for every game. I don't think any of the announcers would be silly enough to work all 7.
Well, just one that I know about. Fourth down play.
Well, let's see. No, not even close.
No, wow.
Not even close. They tried Van Remmen up the middle again, and once again, the St. Joe's defense stands tough.
Van Remmen on a carry for St. Francis.
Well, St. Francis just not able to get it going offensively in this game. They turn it over. Now the wind at their backs for the St. Joe's offense as they come back out. Will we see that quarterback? I'm not sure if Naaman Roosevelt is going to be out there, if they're going to go to the backup, number 14. Actually, number 14 is still warming up on the sideline, so we should have Roosevelt out there. And there's some of the information for the people here at the stadium regarding playback dates. We'd like to help out the people in the stadium. We've been asked a number of times, so Dave D decided to put it up on the board here at Jumbotron at Ralph Wilson. Good idea.
Heads are always turned toward that Jumbotron, especially when a certain sideline reporter's up there. Where is Brendan McDaniels? Here's Naaman Roosevelt. And he's brought down by Brady again. Jeff Brady has been a force on this St. Francis defense.
About a 4-yard loss on the play, and Naaman Roosevelt is starting to wonder what's happening out here because what was working so comfortably in the first and second quarter is starting to not work as well. And you always have to be worried about Naaman Roosevelt here in this fourth quarter. You don't want to certainly have him get injured in any way. And I know Bob O'Connor said that they'd be going to a lot of substitutes as the game progressed here. I would expect after this drive we'll see a lot of substitutes in the game for St. Joe's.
So Roosevelt, as usual, with 4 wide receivers and DeLuca. And the motion man is Greer, number 8. Looking that way, now back to the other side, slings it, it's caught, and then a nice tackle. Johnny on the spot is Chaz Davis.
Good catch, as you said, number 6. They're getting this one to Demario Johnson. I believe it's the second catch of the game. But again, I am totally impressed with the arm strength of Naaman Roosevelt. Under duress, a rusher coming, he's a little bit off balance, rolling to his left side, throwing with the right arm. Everybody knows that's tough to do at all levels of high school, college, and professional football. Watch this, and he puts it on the mark. You see that? And right in front of the defensive back who closed quickly on the play. I like the arm strength.
And Davis was right there and did a nice job to wrap him up, take him down on his own. So now 3rd down and call it 3 for St. Joe's. Roosevelt under center, that's a rarity. Gives to DeLuca, that's not. And he's going to be just short, I think, Frank. He needed the 30-yard line, and it looks like that's going to be maybe by about the nose of the football short. You can see where the official is standing, and it is clearly behind or Well, since they're in St. Francis territory in front of the 30-yard line. And
there's your buddy.
Guess who?
Yeah, there's your buddy.
Jeff Brady making the stop.
Jeff Brady continuing to give his all out there. Jerry Smith across the way, flashing defensive signals. 4th down, 4th and a yard. And as we talked a couple of times in the second half, the easiest play to complete a first down in this situation is let the quarterback keep it.
That's what he did once
and
before.
Burrow into the defense and see if he can get that yard.
Will he try it the second time? No. They're going to let somebody else burrow into the defense, and he does have the first down. It's Dominic Cook on a rare rushing play, and the tackle is made by Ilio DiPaolo.
Well, the first down, though, and that takes us down to 8:30 left. Jerry Smith shaking his head saying, wow, this team is just too good for us today.
Well, I think at this point the win may be far out of reach, but maybe for St. Francis just to put up some points and be able to say they were not shut out.
Yeah, DeLuca had the lead block that opened up the hole just enough for Cook to slide in behind him and get the first down.
Well, when St. Francis has lost this season, they were pretty well handled by those bigger schools, though Coach Smith didn't think they were overly manhandled. As Roosevelt will throw here, has his man, it's DeLuca, first down inside the 20.
It's just so easy. They come up because they think Roosevelt may keep the ball and roll out on his own and run with the football, and instead he just pulls back, and DeLuca, kind of the lead blocker, becomes the receiver, and he's by himself.
And refreshing to see Pat Hayden made the stop that time. We saw him go down in the third quarter to an injury. He is back on the field and comes up with a defensive stop there.
Look at the replay one more time as you see he rolls out, then checks to see what the option possibilities are. The option in his favor is to throw the football. And again, he puts it right on the numbers. Perfect.
And there he is, Hayden. And now Roosevelt being pressured again. He's great in these situations. He's going to do it himself. And Rottenstruck escorts him out inside the 10.
You would like to stay inside in bounds anyway to keep the clock moving, but you know, he was also looking at the chains there on the first down marker. Got pretty close to it. He's going to be a little bit short at the 10-yard line.
One thing I notice, he always knows where the first down marker is.
He looks like he's a little exhausted at this point, but Bob O'Connor says stay out there. Let's see if we can get another touchdown yet this game. And just a reminder to our viewers, on December 4th, for everybody interested in Coach Paul Fitzpatrick's retirement party, check it out at the Iron Workers Hall in West Seneca, 12 till 5 on Sunday, December 4th.
See Frank Stewart for tickets.
No way.
Roosevelt to the end zone, and it bounces off the turf. He had two potential receivers, and once before that was a problem for them, you'll recall, Frank, when two guys sort of got in each other's way and wound up dropping a touchdown.
Yeah, it's tough to tell who that was actually intended to, but David Roosevelt's talking to both receivers as they come back to the huddle and say, why are you guys together like that? You want me to hit you, you got to tell me, you know, which one wants the ball at that moment. I can hit you, but if you're both in the same area, it's a little bit confusing.
7:01 on the clock.
By the way, just a note here as we look at this play, we may be running a little bit short of telecast time here because of the length and a lot of offense in this game.
Roosevelt is stopped, and that's not something you see too often, as that time it was Brady and also number 44, Brian Haas for St. Francis.
Fourth down coming up. And a terrific weekend of football here. This one, as we said, we may have to cut just a little bit short with the score and the game well determined. Back in the first half, it was over.
Yeah, it really was, Frank. This game got real ugly real quick.
It was 12-0 first quarter, and then 20, I believe it was 20-0 outscored in the second quarter for this big 32-0 lead.
Roosevelt with DeLuca coming in motion behind him, turns around and pitches it that way. He hurdles one defender, eyeing the end zone, and he won't get there, but certainly a nice highlight reel hurdle there as he gets it down to the 5-yard line, and the tackle is made by number 1, Brent Titus.
Titus also with good size, 6'3", 225-pounder, and he was willing to take on DeLuca that time. Although DeLuca showed great athleticism, leaping over the tackle that would have stopped him shy of the first down right there. And again, better tackling would have made a difference here for St. Francis, in my opinion anyway. And finally they wrap him up at the 5.
First and goal for Naaman Roosevelt and St. Joe's. All of their regulars are still in, and now he steps up under center, maybe changing the play here. He's been known to do that. He's going to throw, wants the end zone, forced to run outside, gets rid of it, and it's caught for the touchdown.
A great adjustment catch in the corner of the end zone for Demario Johnson, who makes the reception on the 5-yard touchdown. Naaman Roosevelt shows like he's going to run for the corner. It brings the, what happens is that he brings the defensive corners up to him, but still there was no room to put that football. He throws it on the backside of the receiver's hands. Johnson, or was it Cook, comes up with the football. Great reception. I thought it was number 6 who made the catch.
I actually thought it was Johnson as well. We'll get another look at it in a moment here.
Our spotter says number 6, so that's what we're going with. Mario Johnson with the reception.
Well, if so, it would be his first touchdown catch of the day. Greer rather has had 2.
Yeah, the extra point was good to follow this play. Just look again at the adjustment by the receiver as Naaman Roosevelt throws, and you see what a catch. And Cook was putting the arms up. That's why we got his number a little confused.
And a nice job by our spotter, Steve Atkins, picking out number 6, Demario Johnson there. Indeed, he comes down with his first touchdown catch of the day. So make it 1 for Johnson, 2 for Greer, 1 for Cook, and 2 for DeLuca, one of those on the ground. And we check in downstairs with Brendan.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. I'm down here on the St. Joe side. These guys have been crazy all game long. Now, they promised us that they have a chance. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3.
That we have one. I believe 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 that we have one.
Maestro, Brendan McDaniels, mastering the Steve Flemish art of gratuitous fan involvement. And yet another special teams miscue as DePaulo unable to handle that kickoff.
How about Demario Johnson's work in this game? He hasn't caught a lot of passes, but he made a terrific catch in the last one. 5'8", 152-pound junior. He will be back next year. And with Cook, a formidable team, they're looking at the Monsignor Martin Association one more time next year for St. Joe's. And
Brendan with a nice job, but I have to say, I haven't seen you signing any autographs down there.
Here we go. He's pulling out the pen.
I have my autograph session after the game, guys. I've got such a big crowd over here that these St. Joe's fans have now become my best friends. After the game, they're going to treat me to a little steak dinner. I've already had one already today, but they're going to take me out somewhere nice, sign a little autographs. We're going to get a turkey dinner afterwards. So see, there you go, guys. I've got a fan club for life now.
Turkey, steak, lobster, what else do you want down there?
I think Brendan's been out in the elements just a little too long.
I think so too.
Remember, he was holding his hand up to his ear because the wind was bothering him?
He just wanted to show off those new gloves he bought yesterday for this telecast.
He stopped putting his hand up there for the last couple of notes from the sideline.
He's taking a snifter of something down there right now. We hope it's water. It is. DePaulo in trouble, pulled down by the jersey, but about 10 yards away from the play was what may have been something of a questionable hit as number 51 for St. Francis there, Joey Hollenbeck, telling the official, no, I didn't do anything wrong, as he rifled a St. Joe's player down to the ground. But for DePaulo, he just has not enjoyed good blocking from his offensive line today.
Steve, just amazing here. And again, I'm not totally certain, because I haven't been totally certain since the first quarter, if St. Francis has a first down officially in this game. This is their best chance, 3rd and a yard. I mean, they really, really have been shut down by the St. Joe's defense. Not only on the scoreboard, that's a shutout, but if you shut them down without a first down for a game, unbelievable.
That's pretty bad. Well, they have it, and it's Van Remmen who has that first down up to the 40-yard line. So it's an 11-yard gain for number 21, and it was he who just kept getting stuffed at the line throughout the first half and much of the third quarter, but here he breaks the proverbial ice.
Yeah, finally, if it is indeed the first, I think it is, a nice run, good blocking up the middle of the field. Maybe a couple of players who don't normally start in the game now as DeLuca makes the tackle that time, as Bob O'Connor's gone to the sideline to pull in some players that normally wouldn't get a lot of playing time at this point. Why not? I mean, you've got this game well in hand and give everybody a chance to play at the stadium here.
All right, this offensive set looks very much like one St. Joe's runs, as that pass is incomplete. And, you know, I think this might be a case of nerves here, Frank. It's just, you pointed it out at halftime, when you lose so much momentum, even though they just had that first down, it's tough to get it back in. Fabor unable to haul that one in.
Well, you see the pressure coming from Cook, and that maybe hurries the throw just a little bit. And Delano Fabor turned, and the ball was on his hands faster than he was expecting it, and went right through his hands, actually. And you say to yourself, catchable ball, but if you're down there and you turn and you're spinning and the wind is blowing and all of that, it's hard to say. High school is high school.
Good point.
Occasionally I come up with one.
Once.
Not often. Oh, boy.
Once in a blue moon.
Oh, boy.
Who just walked into the booth?
The man.
Oh, it's our executive producer, Rick Carnath. Make sure your tie is straight there. As DiPaolo gives, it's Van Remmen to the 45, and he stopped there. So he had that first down just 2 plays ago, and they go right back to him. You see a little, there's a little blood on that jersey. Tackle made by number 2, Dominic Cook.
Physical game out here.
Excuse me, I beg your pardon, number 22, Anthony Biagiotti.
A physical game for both sides, and as I said, Coach O'Connor going with some backup players now. Why not?
What's that pink piece of paper the boss just handed you?
Slip? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what you mean? Well,
I'm waiting for the snappy retort you were playing.
No. I was occupied with something else at the moment.
Oh, okay. DiPaolo with a lot of options. Can he find one? He does. The first big pass play of the game, and it's hauled in by Fabor. And it gets St. Francis down to the 27-yard line. Tackle made by number 8, Greer, for St. Joe's. So he's hauled in quite a few passes today, including 2 touchdowns. Here he comes up with a stop, but the big story on this play, finally a big pass play from Elio DiPaolo, what we were expecting all game long but never saw.
Exactly right. And again, you're going to get some of this now in the latter portion of the game, at one-sided decision already.
Inside 3 minutes to play now, a 1st and 10.
St. Francis would love to get some points.
A little bit of a high snap, but he pulls it down. That ball's tipped up in the air and dangerous. There were a couple of maroon jerseys in the vicinity, but nobody was able to haul it in. So we'll go to 2nd down and 10 with the ball on the 27.
Jeff Brady get the quick toss there. There's Tasker. How about that? Lucas Tasker, a 5'8", 135-pound freshman.
Actually, that's Deke. Deke's 89.
What do I have here? Okay, you're right. I saw 86 and I saw Tasker.
There are
so
quite a few
Tasker,
Taskers.
the senior.
Yeah, there are a few Taskers coming through St. Francis. And remember at this game last year, St. Francis sidelines. Steve Tasker, their dad, the longtime Bills special teamer, now an NFL on CBS analyst, host of the Bills All Access, was down there. I was talking to him about his many sons coming through this program as DiPaolo rolls out, trying to find the end zone. He's pressured, and he'll find the sideline instead.
Well, just a couple of minutes, 2:24 left here in the 4th quarter. DiPaolo still playing his heart out. He would love to have one final score here at Ralph Wilson Stadium, because his high school career is about to come down to its final minutes here of his high school career.
And since we want to point out the outstanding work of our Adelphia 13 crew. There's a look at Don over there on the sideline. He has been very patient with my many gimmicky sideline reports during the past 3 days. We'll talk about the rest of these fine folks in just a minute here, as now it's Operation try to do something.
First down there for the St. Francis team.
There's James down in the end zone. Kim, he's had, I think, the easiest job here.
Oh, no, don't say that.
No. He's had a natural seat behind him there. He's been able to lean back and sort of.
Do you know how long it takes him to get dressed? Do you know how long it takes him to get that outfit on?
The whole first game.
That's not easy. That's not easy at all. I respect James Brown.
DiPaolo looking for the end zone. Caught and down to the 1. And Fabor again, his second big catch of this drive.
Timeout as the chains have to be moved up. They will not move them up actually, but it does become a 1st and goal here.
Greer made the stop again. Excuse me, Frank.
I was impressed with the arm strength shown there by Elio DiPaolo. He roped that ball. And Fabor was able to hang out this time.
So here we go, a 1st and goal. We thought we'd see a lot more of these tonight, but this is the first one for St. Francis. And I think he's in for the touchdown.
Yes, sir.
And he is. So at least they don't have to go home knowing they were shut out.
Who else do we have working here? Gary Black is working.
Gary Black is down on one of the cameras. There he is. Wave for the camera, Gary.
Eric is in the van, I believe.
Well, Eric's out there. Leo Sinise, Dave D, obviously our producer-director.
Francine
Lily
is
H,
here.
Francine, Stacy's run camera, Steve.
Steve is here, that's right.
I know I'm forgetting somebody. Eric, yeah.
Full
mentioned him
complement
on the
of players.
graphics.
Full complement of crew members, I should say here.
Well, they are like players.
You know,
we have a cohesive team.
Steve, over the years, we've run into a lot of people, maybe you haven't had that experience yet, that have watched these games over the years and nothing short of impressed with the production values that come out of these games. It's really fun to watch.
And that is no good. Wide to the right on the point after attempt by Lawless. So 39-6 is the score with 1.5 minutes to go. And there you see on the St. Joe's sideline, they're trying to get those fans up to celebrate what will be a huge win for them. That's Matt Piazza, number 52, you saw a moment ago. So we take a look back at the touchdown there. Some window dressing points for St. Francis.
Well, it's something for Leo DiPaolo, as we said. You know, he's not going to want to remember the game, but he'll remember the touchdown. In his last game as a high school senior at St. Francis. And certainly he's made their program a lot better than it was a number of years ago. They've always had pretty good quarterbacks, but he's certainly been a big contributor as they've traveled literally throughout Ohio, Pennsylvania, playing some of the biggest schools in the country.
Well, you know, Coach Smith told us that they don't, like many coaches do, they don't try to figure out, okay, how can we run our system with these guys? They really tailor their systems around the players they have. And you can bet next season, with whatever group of players he has, he'll find a way to get them ready and competitive. And I'll tell you what, I am already looking forward to the rematch next year. That'll be one fun football game.
They can't forget about the other teams, though. Time and St. Jude losing their coach. There'll be a new coach at Time and St. Jude next year. Canisius, always tough in this 4-team league in the AA level of senior Martin play. And it's always been competitive. St. Francis has dominated the last few years, but you know, these teams, they carry their competition to other sports too. Basketball is a big deal. Hockey's a big deal.
The kick by Lawless. Fielded by Cook at the 15. He's not sitting on the sideline. He's still trying to make plays, and he is still alive here. Not anymore. Down at the 16.
Well, he thought about going out of bounds and said, no, this is my final game of the year here as well. I might as well try to do something exciting with it.
And Steve Miller making the stop there. Brendan McDaniels, let's check back with you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, you always hear us talk about nobody else covers high school sports like Adelphia Channel 13, and that is certainly true. We've been here today for the 2-month Senior Martin games. We're also here on Friday for the C and D games in Section 6, and Saturday night for the B, A, and AA games. And by the way, our crew, who, as we said, you heard all the crew, we only have about 8 to 10 crew that work very hard behind the camera on these productions. Also had to work in 2 Sabres productions during the weekend too. So you're talking about 7 high school football games, 2 Sabres games, and all doing that on a very short staff. Kudos to our crew for doing that. You take a look at us, and when you see us on camera, me, Frank Stewart, Steve Flamish, Walt Sears, Mark Collins, we have the easy job compared to these guys. These guys are working in the trenches, and especially with today's elements, how they've been today, it's been unbelievable. Just them trying to keep their cameras in place today. I'll tell you, I know that I'm standing here, I'm having a hard time keeping straight, not being blown away. But for Don Bahar, James Braun, Gary Black, our guys behind the camera, for them to actually have the composure behind those cameras, to keep them upright during the game today is something very amazing that truly can't be shown at home as you take a look at James Braun right now. So kudos to our crew, and of course kudos to our viewers at home. As you see there, that's a perfect example right there with James. That's been happening all game today, guys.
Well, Brendan, the right thing to do then on your part would be to share some of that. Was it turkey, steak, or lobster? I would think the crew members would enjoy that a great deal, especially at the conclusion of this one.
Tackle made by number 72.
Well, you really can't say enough about these guys. And, you know, last night we actually split the crew for the AA telecast, and it still was a fabulous production with Gary Black directing down in the truck, because Dave D and Leo and Willie and Eric, they all ran back to our studios in West Seneca to do that Buffalo Sabres post-game show, which was also a superb production. So an outstanding group behind the scenes. And by the way, if you want to let us know what you think of the fine work of these folks, or maybe request a Frank Stewart signed 8x10 glossy.
Hey, Bob O'Connor just got soaked. They got him. He wasn't expecting it. He got soaked from head to toe. He's going to be drenched in water or Gatorade or something out there, but a big celebration along the near sidelines. Actually, St. Joe's called a timeout, maybe to draw the coach's attention, because why would you call a timeout? I think they're maybe setting him up for the big downpour that came over the top of his head.
Could be. Could be. Hey, by the way, though, on a serious note, if you do want to let us know what you think about the production, you can write to Adelphia, Channel 13, and that's at 789 Indian Church Road in West Seneca. So send your fan mail. 14224, by the way, is the zip code for out-of-towners such as myself.
A lot of hugs, a lot of handshakes on the near sideline for St. Joe's as Bob O'Connor completes his season here. 10 wins and 1 loss. This is his 25th year as the head coach for St. Joe's.
Schmalz is now the quarterback as Roosevelt has wrapped up his day. And we are ticking down here, nearing the 30-second mark in this one. Frank, I think you've still got a mailbox full of fan mail just overflowing back at the stadium, at the station. You're going to want to clear that out.
Well, in the offseason, they take the time to read each one personally and respond, of course. But not during the season. It's overwhelming.
He also likes to keep a list of who's been naughty and nice on the crew.
Oh, you're on the list.
I am? Which one?
You obviously know the answer to that. There should be no doubt in your mind.
Well, wait.
You joined Walter John Sears on that same list.
Oh, no.
Well, I'm sorry. It's true.
Well.
Hey, we're done here.
We are. St. Joe's, go celebrate. They have just won the Class AA Monsignor Martin's Association title, and they do it with a blowout win over St. Francis, 39-6. And in so doing, Naaman Roosevelt breaks the single season touchdown mark, 35 officially, with the last one to Demario Johnson, breaking the mark set by Maple Grove's Randall Secchi. So congratulations to him. A wonderful note to wrap up his senior career, and this entire team enjoying the celebration. There's Naaman Roosevelt. He's standing by with our Brendan McDaniels.
Thanks a lot, guys, with Naaman Roosevelt. Naaman, how does it feel to end your high school career with a big win against an arch rival?
Oh, it feels great. This was our goal the whole season, to win the championship, and we played St. Francis, so that definitely topped it off, playing St. Francis.
Now, also, is it doubly nice? I don't know if you know this yet, but you set a Western New York record for most touchdown passes in a season. You also became the 3rd player in Western New York history to pass over 2,000 yards. How nice is that?
Oh, it's great. You know, coming in this game, I didn't really think about it that much, but, you know, since I did it, I feel great doing it.
Now, taking a look, you got a long road ahead, looking at colleges. What's the process for you like now? I mean, what's the next step for you?
Well, I don't know. You know, offers still coming in, so, you know, just looking at my options.
All right, and lastly, how nice is this as a senior? Last game, you get a championship.
Oh, it's wonderful. Wonderful. I can't explain. It's just great.
All right, go ahead and celebrate. Thanks a lot,
All right, thanks.
Naaman Roosevelt, guys. He's going to be a star at the next level. I talked to Dick Gallagher earlier today. He said, no doubt, next level. You're going to be seeing him on Saturdays, guys.
Well, Dick Gallagher, of course, Brendan, the Western New York high school football guru, but so too are you, Frank Stewart, and your final thoughts here.
Well, I think we saw what we needed to see from Naaman Roosevelt. The game was sort of a toss-up. We expected great competition in this AA final. St. Joe's with the revenge factor coming from St. Francis Adams. St. Joe's winning by 2 points earlier in the season with a controversy involved there. There's no controversy about this game. The better team won, and the better team really showed it.
All right, so that's a wrap. 39-6 the final as St. Joe's captures the title. Now, as we wrap up 7 games over the course of 3 days here on A13 at the Ralph, for Frank Stewart, Brendan McDaniels, also our colleagues Walt Sears, Mark Collins, Roger Walsh, Jason Bristol, everybody behind the scenes. We certainly hope you've enjoyed watching these telecasts as much as we've enjoyed bringing them to you. For all of us, I'm Steve Flemish saying good night from Ralph Wilson Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. St. Joe's, champions of Monsignor Martin Class AA. Good night, everybody.
set, go.
The Aero Speed Shaft is the most advanced designed golf shaft ever. With its speed foil design and aircraft wing shape, the world's fastest shaft is designed like a sword to slice through the air like butter, with a shaft tracking system that tracks right into the ball. The Aero Speed Shaft is designed to speed up a person's swing with the airfoiling over the top and bottom of the shaft.
Combine either of these inverted heads with the world's fastest shaft, the Aero Speed Shaft. Get ready for the drive of your life. Here's Mr. 59, Al Geiberger.
This shape golf technology will easily add 30 yards to your drive.
Man, I gotta have this thing.
Thousands of clubs have been sold at $299, and now a limited edition of $99. That's $99. Call now. Don't miss out on your chance to own the world's longest drivers, the Explosion and Super Pro.
For over 14 years, the Visiting Nursing Association has been protecting our Western New York community with both influenza and pneumonia shots. Our 2005 campaign runs October 3rd through December 3rd. Proceeds from the campaign supports charity home care at the VNA. To find a local site, contact our website at vna-wny.org or call our flu hotline at 862-3588. Remember, it's time to protect you and your family against influenza and pneumonia.
Oh, yeah. Not again! What?
I'm gonna drag that satellite dish down the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. This is nothing but a theater of pain. I'm going back to Adelphia, where my pitcher won't be subject to rain, fade, wind, snow, or sleet. Adelphia will always be there. Sweet dreams, satellite!
Come back to Adelphia and get $200 for your dish. To order, call 1-866-3-ADELPHIA.
You're watching Adelphia Channel 13 Sports.
You want to find out about DVR, digital video recording? Let's start with the basics. Have you ever thought to yourself, all these channels and nothing on? Of course you have. But the truth is there's plenty on. It's just not on when you feel like watching TV. Unless you've got an Explorer 8000 home entertainment server from Scientific Atlanta with DVR service from Adelphia. With DVR, you can always have loads of your favorite shows waiting for you, and they're all on when you say they're on. Here's an example. Our favorite show is on at 9 o'clock in the evening. Our kids' bedtime is, you guessed it, 9 o'clock. We used to either rush the kids through bedtime, okay kids, night-night and all that stuff, or we'd miss the setup that comes in the first 10 minutes of the show. Or we'd tape the show, watch it at 10, and then be so wiped out that there'd be no time left in our evening. Please. Now, who cares when the show starts? We get the kids into bed when it's bedtime. Read them a story, come downstairs, and we can start watching that show, or really virtually any show, at 9:15 or 9:20 or any time. I could watch it in the morning while the kids are at school. The whole TV schedule concept simply doesn't apply anymore. TV waits for me. I just press play when I'm ready. Of course, I can also watch live TV at any time, like now. Oh. Hello? Oh, hi. Hey, can you hold on for a sec? Great. Did you see what we just did? We just paused live TV. The phone rang. I didn't go into that momentary panic of watch the show, answer the phone, watch, answer. I just hit the pause key and answered the phone because TV waits for me. I'm in the middle of telling people about our new DVR setup. Yes, I know I talk about it all the time, but wouldn't you? Hey, can I call you back? Great, bye. So, I press the play button, and the show picks up right where I left off. But between the phone call and talking to you, I can't remember what was happening on my show. No big. The green part of the banner tells me how much of the show is in the buffer. So, I can pause it again, rewind, or fast forward, and play at any point in the buffer. And I just love the instant replay button. It's great for any sports event, You want to see that amazing play again? In the old days, you'd wait to see if the announcer would replay it. Forget that. With DVR, you just press the instant replay button. We also call it the "what did he say" button, because you know how everyone talks really fast on some shows, and we're like, what did he say? Well, press the button once and it goes back just the right amount of time. I'm going to save this show to watch later. I just press the record, and the system will use the program guide to make sure that everything from the time I started watching until the show is scheduled to end will wait for me, whenever I'm ready. Now watch. You can't do that with some other digital video recorders. Change channels while you're recording.